Last week, Montana State held off Northern Colorado with a bruising running game, including 200 yards from Cody Kirk. This afternoon, an old friend comes to town, former MSU coach Mike Kramer and his new team, the Idaho State Bengals. It's next on Bobcat Game Day. Afternoon, Montana State goes for their 8th consecutive win as they host the Bengals from Idaho State. Hi again, everyone. I'm Chris Byers along with Mike Callahan. And Mike, certainly it's a game played by the players and it's played on the field between the lines. But if you read the newspapers across Montana this week, it's all about one coach. They called him affectionately the big human here in Bozeman. Mike Kramer returns to Montana State.
Yeah, Mike Kramer is certainly no stranger to the sidelines here at Bobcat Stadium, having coached at Montana State for 11 seasons. 4 as an assistant in the mid-'80s, and then 7 as the head man from 2000 through 2006, where he led the team to 40 victories and 3 conference championships.
He got it done at Eastern Washington. He certainly got it done here in Bozeman. Now he's trying to do the same at Idaho State, but it's going to be some tough sledding and an uphill climb for Coach Kramer in his first season. They've got a long way to go and have struggled mightily this year. Now, to move against this Montana State defense, it's going to be tough. In particular, they got a guy on that defensive side, Mike, that's playing some exceptional football right now.
Brad Daly has exploded onto the scene here at MSU after being away from the program for an entire season. He's got 4 sacks in the last 2 games, bringing his season total to 7 to lead the Big Sky Conference. Expect him to raise that number today as they face off against an ISU unit that has already allowed a league worst 47 sacks.
It's amazing, isn't it, Mike, on defense, how some of these guys just seem to come out of nowhere and not only be dominant players on the team, but as you mentioned, Daly, number 1 in the Big Sky Conference. Now, for the keys to today's game, let's go down to the field and join. Well, AJ, I thought you'd be a little bundled up this afternoon.
All right, Chris and Mike, welcome down to the field here at Bobcat Stadium. Besides the obvious storyline that everybody wants to focus on, Mike Kramer returning to Bozeman, there is a football game to be played between Idaho State and Montana State. So here are the Billings Hotel and Convention Center keys to that game. We'll start with the visiting Bengals. Number 1, they're going to have to be able to protect the football. This is an Idaho State team that loves to throw. They're going to throw over 50 times today in all likeliness against Montana State. It's very important for them, and Kevin Yost in particular, the quarterback, to protect the ball. Number 2, Idaho State's going to have to score touchdowns when they get the ball deep into Montana State territory. They can't settle for field goals, especially against the Bobcats team that you know is going to put up points today. And then number 3, the punting has been the brightest spot of this Idaho State team all year, but unfortunately their starting punter, who leads the FCS in net average per punt, is out for today's game. CJ Reyes, the backup, is in. We'll see if Idaho State, with their backup, can get the same kind of results in the punting game. So for Montana State, their keys to today's game: number 1, if they're on defense, they got to be ball hawks. They're going to know today more than ever they're going to have a chance to get some great looks at interceptions. Be aggressive, try to get into those passing lanes and try to disrupt that Idaho State passing attack. Number 2, and Coach Ash mentioned this during the week, the team has to be ready for anything. Coach Ash said the defense is practicing all week, or did practice, that they're going to see a lot of the run because they know they have to be ready for anything coming into this game. And then finally, Montana State has to be able to control the tempo. As much as Idaho State likes to throw the football, Montana State has to use their running game as well as they can. Use Cody Kirk and Trey Robinson, get them going, be able to burn that clock and keep Idaho State off the field. Those are the keys to today's game, brought to you by Billings Hotel and Convention Center. Idaho State and the return of Mike Kramer taking on the Montana State Bobcats when we come back on Bobcat Game Day.
And welcome back to Bobcat Stadium. Montana State and Idaho State this afternoon in Big Sky Conference football. And Mike, we talked in the pregame about the return of Mike Kramer to Bozeman, where he had all that success with Montana State. And there you have the 2 coaches. Mike Kramer now in his 14th season, 79 and 81 overall, with 3 different Big Sky teams. And of course the veteran Rob Ash, 32nd year, 212 wins. That's not too bad. So a couple of veteran coaches. The series belongs to Montana State. They've dominated 44 wins to 30. There have been 3 ties, and here in Bozeman, Montana State with a decided edge, 26-9-1. Idaho State won the toss, deferred, so the Bobcats will get the football to start the game. 52 degrees, current conditions, and the winds 17 miles an hour. under cloudy skies. There is a slight chance of rain this afternoon, but the sun is out in the Gallatin Valley, and all in all, Mike, pretty nice day, pretty nice fall day for college football.
It is a nice fall day. The first game that we've had since the new configuration of the stadium where we've had some wind. It will be interesting to see how the wind is affected in today's contest. We see the short kick to start things off. Boy, a nice job that time. Talked about be ready for anything. Only took one play for Idaho State to bring out their first surprise.
Cruz Seawing falls on it, so the Cats with excellent field position inside Bengal territory to start the game. Here's the offensive line for Montana State. Sampson at the center, Tuanay, Dennehy, Sampson, Tarian, and Burbank out there at left tackle. Akpla and Tanner Bleskin along with Gilbert, the wideouts. Foster opens up at tight end. Cody Kirk in the backfield for Denarius McGee. Ball is at the 48-yard line. First play from scrimmage. There's the numbers on Denarius. Looks right, fires left, has Gilbert at the 42, and a gain of 7 on the play, 2nd and 3.
A nice time. They open up with the pass play. And a good throw, good catch, good defense, but a big pickup for Montana State.
Starting Western State starting lineup for Idaho State on defense. Rouser, Monger, Bergen, and Francis are up front. Houdin, A.J. Storms, their leading tackler at middle linebacker. Coleman, Henley, Davis, and Miller in the backfield on second down. They give us to Kirk, and Kirk bounces off one tackle, but met and taken down. He'll be short of the first down. Nice play by Bass and Houdin to make the stop.
Yeah, Houdin was there to wrap that thing up. Those 4 senior linebackers on that Idaho State defense are an area of strength that Coach Kramer said that group has probably played better than any other group on the team so far this season.
Yeah, and Storms, one of the outstanding linebackers in the country.
Yeah, he was a leading tackler in the nation last year. It comes in today with a whole bunch as well, already with 76 tackles coming into today's game.
3rd and 3 now from the 41, opening drive for Montana State. Gilbert comes out of the backfield. McGee rolls right, now looks, fires, and this one is intercepted at the 40-yard line. Intercepted by Donovan Henley, and Idaho State gets the first break of the game.
Henley is their cover guy. Watch, they roll the pocket out to the right. A nice cut block on the outside to maintain the pocket. This ball is delivered, but watch the break by Henley coming up underneath. Pulls that ball away from Gilbert, and a big opportunity for Idaho State.
So Idaho State takes over from the 41-yard line on their first possession. Yost at quarterback. Looks across the middle, and this is caught at the 45. Let's take a look now at the Western States Insurance offense for Idaho State. And boy, do they have a makeshift offensive line. A couple of true freshmen, Cutler and Bagley, will start this afternoon. Strength of their team, the wide receivers, and none better than Rumble, who is #1 in the country in receiving yards. Hill, Graves, Boyles, and Daniels will open at running back, and Yost, of course, is the quarterback for Idaho State. Gain of 5, 2nd and 5. They'll stay on the ground, and not much there. And Mike, this is really where Idaho State has struggled, averaging just 20 yards a game rushing the football.
Yeah, they have not rushed it very well, and to an additional challenge going with the 2 true freshmen at the starting guards today, and some other changes in their offensive line, so they'll be challenged against that strong Montana State front.
3rd and 4 from the 47. 4 receivers set for the Bengals, and now Yost comes up to the line, looks things over. He'll change the play. He's got Daniels in the backfield. And here's the play. Yost looks out to his left. Looked like the ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage. Incomplete, will bring up 4th down.
I think that was 96 Zach Minner getting up in the middle of that pass rush and disrupting the throw that time. The first big 3rd down is going to go the way of Montana State. But watch, they do a pretty good job of holding the pocket, but it just breaks down right when Yost is ready to deliver this football. He gets a little bit of contact down there in his lower body, and it just really, that throw really never had a chance as he looked to the outside.
C.J. Ray is now on to kick on 4th down from the 47. Low liner hits at the 30, picked up by Elvis Akpla inside the 20. Akpla up over the 20 to the 23, and a first down for Montana State. That's where they'll start. 12:13 to go opening quarter. No score. We'll be back after this Cat Grizz Optimum update.
Well, it's been fast and furious so far today, Chris. We have the onside kick, the interception, then just a quick 3 and out. Bobcats will get their second try at it.
Stay on the ground to Cody Kirk, picks up maybe. Oh, it keeps going over the 30. Kirk was hit at the 25, but kept the legs going and takes it up to the 30 and a 7-yard gain.
Yeah, Jack Francis, the other backer, 47, got the first shot at him. And then he's just able to break that tackle and move it up the field. And now as we miss a little bit of that play, you can see Montana State has come out this second series and really trying to work with a fast tempo offense.
Houdin with the tackle, but not before Montana State gets a first down. Cody Kirk closing in on a 1,000-yard season, Mike.
Yeah, he's got a chance today. He's going to need 70 yards to get to that big number. He's off to a pretty good start here. 2 carries. First one not much there, but that last one he...
Importantly, he feels like this is a resilient group.
When he's just able to blast it up inside and pick something up on his own.
Montana State working fast here in the second possession. Denarius will give to Kirk. Kirk spins ahead to the 37-yard line. Gain of 5 on the play.
You can see that time. Big hole up front. But 47, Jack Francis, the linebacker, really does a good job of getting upfield and attacking this play. A big hole, but he comes up, able to get enough of Cody to bring him down.
2nd and 7 for Montana State as Akla checks in, and now Denarius will look to the side and get the signals from offensive coordinator Brian Wright on 2nd down. McGee gives to Kirk. Kirk tries to bounce to the outside, gets there with some running room up to the 40 and taken down at the 40-yard line, and that'll bring up 3rd and 3, taken down by Ryan Coleman.
That time you could see Idaho State playing run all the way. They walked up 2 of their backers. They walked up both inside backers, so you can see they've got a man on every Montana State blocker that time, but Cody able to bounce it to the outside and pick up a pretty nice chunk, bring up the short 3rd and 3 situation.
Trey Robinson into the game for the first time. He's in the backfield on 3rd down. Ball right at the 40-yard line. They need 3 for a first down. Here's McGee. Looks, fires, and that is caught and dropped by Ellis. Nice defense for Idaho State. Back there in coverage was Kelvin Miller, and that'll bring up 4th down.
Boy, they are aggressive on those corners today. They are breaking up on these balls. Either the ones that, boy, if you don't make the play, that receiver's going the other way and you don't have a whole lot of help. But a good job so far. 2 times now, the Idaho State defense has looked very good.
John Davidson back to receive. Perez will kick it away from the 25-yard line. Here's Perez, gets this one, got the wind at his back. Davidson will field it inside the 15. Davidson up to and dragged down at the 17. Good special teams play. How about Elvis Akla?
Well, you're bringing out the big guns when you're using those starters, and none bigger than Elvis on the offensive side of the football, but they're making a great play in special teams. The long snapper Tudor was down there to push the return man to the outside, and Elvis was right there and made a pretty solid tackle for a wideout, Chris.
There's the numbers on Yost for the season. Over 2,300 yards and 13 touchdowns. They average over 300 yards a game through the air. So first down for Yost and the Bengals. He looks, and now it's going to be brought down at the 15-yard line as that offensive line collapses. Zach Minner is there for the tackle. Let's take a look at the Western States Insurance defense for Montana State. Shrybais, Kalei, Minter, John Ledetta up front. The linebackers, Owens, Bignell, and Moe Akiola enter the backfield. Gourds and Jones the corners. Fuller and Meffley are the safeties. 2nd and 10 from the 18. Yost throws it out into the flat. That's caught and brought down at the 15 for no gain. A rumble, their leading receiver taken down for no gain. Deontay Flowers on a nice play, Mike.
Yeah, you can, Reynolds for them is a guy they like to get him the ball and see if he can make a play. This time they loop him around, motion from the backside. He's got blockers in front of him, but a great job by Flowers getting off that block and tackling for the loss.
Loss of 3 on the play, so 3rd and 13 from the 15-yard line. And crowd on their feet as Yo steps up into the pocket. Now looks across the middle, and that's incomplete at the 26-yard line. 3 and out, another 4th down for the Bengals.
Brad Daly, we talked about him in the open. He is a pass rush specialist, and he is up. Didn't make a sack here, but he got upfield as he is so talented at, and got an arm on him, really disrupted the timing of that route, and ISU will be forced to punt. Not a whole lot of offense so far, Chris.
Not so far. And Johnson back at the 50-yard line to receive. Reyes will be inside his 5 to punt it away. Reyes, rolling kick, and this one a low liner that's going to bounce. It'll be fielded right at the 50. Johnson with a little bit of running room, but closed down quickly. Good job by the Bengal defense. So when we come back, Montana State will have the football. 8:09 in the first, no score.
They really have. It's, as you said, the second time today that Montana State has started a possession inside Idaho State territory, but really hasn't got anything going on the offensive side of football yet.
Here's McGee. Straight drop, looks across the middle, and that's going to produce a flag. 1, 2, 3, 4 flags on the play. I think we're going to get pass interference on Elvis Akpla and roughing the passer on maybe on Denarius McGee.
Yeah, it definitely looked like Akpla got tied up with number 4 Ryan Coleman in the secondary for Idaho State, and we talked about it on the break. After the way things had started, the aggressive play by their corners, we were not at all surprised that time to see Montana State try and go down the field.
What number? There are 2 fouls on the play. Personal foul, top block, offense number 8. Pass interference, defense number 4. Those fouls offset, replay, first down.
Well, here we'll take a look, and this will show you the interference downfield. They just catch it late, and you can see I didn't see the chop there, and I thought that he said on number 80 or number 8, which there's no one on the field for MSU with that number, so I'm not sure where that foul came, but regardless, we're going to see the whole thing one more time.
Penalties cancel each other out, so 1st and 10 again from the 47. Robinson and Kirk in the backfield, and McGee, I think that's the broken play, so Denarius dancing around back there and taken down inside the 40-yard line, and a nice play by Tanner Davis, but that play just never got going, never developed. Let's go down on the field to A.J. Donatoni.
All right, guys, I'm down here on the Idaho State sideline. Obviously, the big story coming in, Mike Kramer, his return to Montana State. He coached here for 7 years. So far, though, I haven't heard a whole lot of friendly trash talk on the sideline, not at all, actually, from the fans. You know, I figured they might get into it a little bit with Coach Kramer, but so far, it's been pretty subdued over here. Not too much going on. They're not really distracting him at all. So, at least for now, you know, none of the fans really getting into the fact that Coach Kramer's back on the sideline.
All right, A.J., 2nd and 23 after the loss. Here's McGee. Looks long for Ellis, and this one overthrown at the 30-yard line.
Well, Montana State was going to try and pick it all up in one play after the loss on the previous play. Had Ellis over the middle, ball thrown a little bit high, and it's going to bring up a 3rd and very long for the Bobcats. Well, Chris, the ISU really looks like they're forcing a little bit of confusion with that offensive side of the ball for Montana State so far.
Incomplete pass brings up 3rd and 23 from the 40-yard line, and they'll stay on the ground. Here's Kirk. He's going to get bottled up and taken down. Boy, a good job of stretching that play out for Idaho State as Henley and Storm were there. And that'll bring up 4th down. So, you know, you're looking at a Bengal defense, Mike, that ranks near the bottom of the conference in just about every statistical category, up against a Montana State offense that averages 33 points a game, 450 yards of total offense. But so far, they've done a great job.
Yeah, it has been all about the defense so far for both squads. And now ISU will get their 3rd possession, and we'll see if they can get anything going on the offense.
Here's Perez, end-over-end kick. And this one is signal for a fair catch and made at the 14-yard line. 7:25 to go, first quarter. Still no score in Bozeman. See the flags flying there in the north end zone. Pretty stiff breeze. Idaho State will be working right into the teeth of that wind as they have the football from the 13. Well, Montana State is certainly winning the field position game so far. Here's Yost on play action, looks to the sideline. That's incomplete. And a very good job defensively for Montana State to shut down that play. And you have to wonder, Mike, with Idaho State, they have virtually no running game. Now they have this makeshift offensive line with two true freshmen, and that puts an awful lot of pressure on them because you know that 90% of the time the Bengals are throwing the football.
Yeah, and Yost, you know he's got to feel that pressure, and he's got to do a great job today getting rid of the ball on time. And that's how you see him step up in the middle of the pocket, actually had a tight end underneath, wasn't able to hold on, but you know, they are really challenged, as you said, offensively, because they are, you know, by choice really one-dimensional. They want to use that short passing game as their running game. It is their style, but it gets to be pretty tough when you've got some of the elements, the wind, and just that Montana State defense has been solid all year, so they've got some challenges today.
Yeah. The Bobcats #1 in total defense in the Big Sky. 3rd and 10 from the 13. Yost, straight trot, now steps up. Brings the ball down, he'll run to the sideline, taken out of bounds at the 15. Well short of the first down. Good pressure, and Clay Bignell to finish it off.
A nice job by Bignell spying underneath on that quarterback. Yost does a good job of stepping up into the pocket when it starts to seal from the outside. He steps up, you watch him move up in the pocket, finds the opening, nowhere to throw the ball, just takes off on that one. And good tackle by Bignell that left Yost grabbing that. It looked like the right ankle or knee. Hopefully he's not too banged up. He's taking a lot of shots.
Yeah, inside his 5, and again a little low liner that hits at the 30, now rolls forward. So with each possession, Mike, Montana State gets a little closer to the end zone. They'll have it from the 37-yard line to begin this drive. So not only is Idaho State trying to pull off a huge upset, they're not doing themselves any favors in the field position game.
Well, and they've got, we talked about the wind as they are in the teeth of it, going the other way, but really those punts so far for Idaho State have not been affected by the wind. They were almost blocked at the line of scrimmage just because they weren't more than a foot or two over the lineman's head.
So Montana State with a first down from the 38. Salanoa, the lead blocker for Cody Kirk, and Kirk slams his way up over the 35 to the 34. Good job there, taken down by Jordan Munga, the linebacker for the Bengals. Gain is down to the 34, so 2nd and 6 for Montana State.
No, really, it's been this kind of situation where we haven't seen Montana State's offense bottled up. The last 2 weeks, we've seen Perez punt one time.
First charge timeout.
Twice already today.
Timeout taken by the Bengals as they will talk things over. You wonder if Coach Kramer with Reyes kicking is taking that kind of reminds you a little bit of that old Travis Lulay rolling punt.
That is the style that he put in with Travis when he was here at Montana State, and he is definitely a proponent of that.
And Montana State, as you look at the Big Sky Conference standings, the leader at 5-0, Montana just a half game back. Weber State plays the Grizz today in Missoula. That's a huge game. Weber State's really their only road to the playoffs would be to win the Big Sky, and mathematically they still can. They're just 3-4 overall. And Eastern Washington has now won 4 straight. And Mike, I think if they run the table, they get in as an at-large. I truly believe they will.
I think they do, depending on what happens with the rest of the league. Still so many scenarios left. A lot of it will get cleared up today with the, if Montana State can get a win here, that really makes it a 3-team race with only 3 being left that have the ability to get the automatic berth.
Justin Arias is warming up for the Bengals, the backup quarterback, so we'll have to see what the situation with Yost is. Now here's the direct snap to Kirk, and Cody slams his way to the 25-yard line and a first down for Montana State.
Boy, Cody made the run there, but watch his fellow running mate back there, Trey Robinson, lead this and get the nice chip block and cut and kind of open that thing up for Cody. And then once they are able to make contact, he's still going to grind forward and get about 3 more.
Kirk with 32 yards on the day and a very good chance to go over the 1,000-yard mark. Again, the direct snap. Kirk with running room to the 15, inside the 10, to the 5, still on his feet, down to the 2-yard line. Another first down for Montana State.
Well, watch the right side of the line here, folks, because they drive everybody down. They seal the backer. Storm gets sealed, and then it's just Cody again dragging guys for 3 or 4 yards to finish the run. First down and goal.
First and goal from the 2. Kirk again, direct snap. Cody busts up inside. Touchdown, Montana State.
Well, that's a great job of that offensive line. We talked about the strength of this ISU team is those 4 senior linebackers. Just a really good possession there for Montana State. Watch how they get to the second level and get all those blockers backed on this. As we saw, they get into this wildcat formation, but watch all the hats on a hat, as Coach Ash likes to say. And then when it's one-on-one and it's a matter of Cody Kirk falling forward or falling back, you're going to signal touchdown.
Cunningham on for the extra point. And it's good. So with 4:16 to go in the opening quarter, Montana State strikes first on the 2-yard touchdown run by Cody Kirk. And Mike, you know so much about Montana State's passing game with Denarius McGee, but if you look at the balance in the Montana State offense, they average 224 yards a game on the ground, which is just 3 yards less than what they pass per game.
Yeah, almost perfectly balanced.
50-50.
And you watch it, this is just that Bobcat formation. When you look at this drive package, and they are just running the football off the right side. See Cody, then he goes again. This is the one down to the 2, and then one more time to punch this thing in. But that one was all about going with a different look and running the football, getting behind what is their strength, and that's that big offensive front.
If I'd have told you, Mike, back at the beginning of the season that Cody Kirk would be closing in on 1,000 yards in Week 9, would you believe me?
You know, I hate to ever discount Cody Kirk because he is a kid that achieves more than is ever expected at every level, but I would have been surprised. I thought it would be a lot more of a two-back offense where they would be, the yards would be more evenly split, but Cody has just been fantastic, and Robinson has been very good as well.
Their running game, and that can't happen without those big guys up front. And again this year, Jason McIndoe, what a job he does with that offensive line. So the Bobcats strike first, and Cunningham will kick it away. And this one is out of the end zone. And Mike, let's take a look at that offensive line and how it opens the door for Cody.
Well, look at the down blocks there, and then it just, Cody is left with a big hole, one-on-one with A.J. Storms, who is a great linebacker, but that's just really a tough play in a short yardage situation where you've got a hole that wide and you've got to try and wrap up a power back like Cody Kirk.
Ford scoring drive, 4 plays, 38 yards. Cody Kirk's 2-yard touchdown run. The first points of the game at 4:16 of the first quarter. Alexi Groselak is in on defense for Montana State. Yost does return at quarterback. Anthony Boyles, now a flag comes down before the play.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense number 88. First down.
Derek Graves will check in at wide receiver now for the Bengals.
Reset the game clock.
Not the first time we have seen the false start down there in that Sonny Holland end zone.
That was the idea.
Bringing the noise down there, Chris.
Yep. Boy, the Bengals have just had horrible field position. And now first down for the 15. Up comes the crowd. Yost is going to have to go to the wristband now, huh?
Yeah, you can see the difficulty they're having communicating with one another down there.
Student section into it in the south end zone. Yost now takes the snap, looks left, now fires the slant pattern. That's batted at the line of scrimmage. And I think that was tipped by Brad Daly.
I believe that might have been inside. It might be 96 Zach Minner who gets his big paw up. Let's watch him as he comes up and makes his power rush in the middle, as he always does. You can see him working up here.
Yep.
And yet he is able to just reach up. We've seen him, not this year, but last year, just grab a couple of those, Chris, and march down to the end zone.
Probably mad that he didn't get a pick 6 on that. Second down. This ball floats and almost picked off at the 30-yard line. Flag comes in.
I think that's going to be interference on the Montana State secondary, possibly even the linebacker underneath the coverage.
Pass interference, defense number 42. Ball replaces final foul, automatic, first down.
So that goes against Big Nell, and that will move the football.
Well, watch this, as you'll see the receiver comes underneath and just gets tangled up right there on the right side of your screen with Clay. And that is the first down for ISU, and it comes by way of the penalty, which has been Montana State has already, that's the 26th time this season that they've allowed a team to get a first down by virtue of the penalty.
Pass and catch as Yost goes to Rumble. And keep in mind, Rumble averaging over 10 catches per game. And that ranks among the best in the FCS.
Yeah, he is definitely just blowing people away in the Big Sky with the numbers of receptions, as well as the cumulative yardage that comes with that. But not a lot of big plays upfield for him, Chris.
Gain of 6, 2nd and 4 from the 29. Here's Yost, throw it out of the flat and dropped. Dropped at the 25, and Boyles had some running room if he can hang on to the football. Well, that's one he'd like to have back. It brings up 3rd down.
The second time today we've seen that look where they get trips down to the left side. They bring another receiver across the formation and use those trip receivers to try and square up and stock block. That time he's just not able to hold on.
So 3rd and 4 from the 29. And here comes the blitz off the corner. Yost is just going to float it up there, and this is batted down, incomplete pass, kind of a jump ball at the 45-yard line intended for Derek Graves.
Boy, the pressure comes fast and furious on this one. It's guess who? Watch Daly as he comes from the outside, little move up the inside. He is in the chest of Yost before he's got a chance to set his feet and deliver that football. Good coverage in the secondary as well. It's going to bring up another punting situation for Idaho State.
Yeah, and you could see how the wind really held that ball up, Mike. It's a pretty stiff breeze they're throwing into. So Reyes forced to punt again from the 29. And a rolling kick almost hits a player, but bounces and hits at the 37-yard line. And that's where Montana State will have the football.
Well, you can see not only is that punt dangerous from the fact that you don't have time to get a rush, but you know, a situation that almost looked like we were going back to the onside kick situation. The Montana State return men have got to be aware up front that this thing is coming so low. You know, they get that thing, try and make a play on it, or inadvertently get hit, and that ball's going to become live and allow ISU to get a shot at the football.
Well, and it's a shame because their normal punter, David Harrington, was leading the country in punting and was injured last week. They give us to Robinson, and Trey takes it up over the 45, close to a first down, be a couple yards short. You mentioned Harrington injured in the BYU game last week. He was averaging nearly 50 yards a punt.
Yeah, he is incredible. And watch the job on as we look at the replay here. The right side of this offensive line is going crazy today. They are blowing people down the field.
Everett Gilbert up over midfield to the 47. That's a first down. Ridden out of bounds by Houdin.
Well, they like to get him in the backfield and give him some opportunities like this again. But hey, how many plays have we seen to the left side, Chris? It's right-handed football so far in this first quarter.
Robinson in the backfield with McGee on first down. You get the sense Montana State really starting to find their rhythm on offense here. After a couple of 3-and-outs, here's McGee. Give us to Robinson. Robinson cuts up inside, hit at the 45. Short gain on the play, pickup of 2. Storm in on the tackle for the Bengals.
Well, A.J. Storms, number 30, is a guy that I say it all, every couple of weeks. You run into a guy that has been playing forever. This is his, I think, close to 40th start. Missed a couple of possible starts when he was a freshman. Intended to redshirt. They pull him off his redshirt after the first 2 games, and he has been starting ever since. Now a senior, and just has had a fantastic career at Idaho State.
Brian Flocketer's in at wide receiver. And the give is to Kirk. And Cody is hit right at the line of scrimmage, falls forward, maybe a gain of 1 on the play. And again, Houdin in on the stop. And that'll bring up 3rd down.
Watch the linebacker play. They're up front. They're very solid. They've got bodies on those first few blockers, but Houdin just comes up and takes on that lead block of Robinson, blows him back in the hole, and really takes any chance of Cody getting any yardage on that one right away. That's just good, solid backer play.
Illegal substitution, offense number 84, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
So that'll back them up 5. And that'll make it 3rd and 12 from the 49.
Well, Montana State now, after the penalty, has been running the ball pretty effectively, but it looks like this is a situation where they will likely go back to the air.
Gilbert and Akpla split to the right. Tanner, Bleskett, and Ellis are split left. 4 receivers set with Kirk in the backfield on 3rd down. They need to get to the 37. Here's McGee. Straight drop. Looks left, fires, and this is caught by Bleskett at the 30-yard line. And I tell you what, he dropped that thing between 2 defenders, and you couldn't have thrown it any better.
These are the throws that really set quarterbacks apart. Idaho State only brings 3. They've got the secondary loaded up, and watch it. He delivers the ball right between the underneath coverage and underneath that safety. He's sitting over the top. That was just a fantastic, big-time football throw.
Say enough for the first down as the gain is all the way to the 31. And McGee now rolls right. Now looks, now throws underneath and has Akpla at the 25. Akpla breaks 1 tackle, still on his feet to the 20. Akpla to the 15. Akpla down inside the 10-yard line. What a run by Akpla after the catch.
The ability of Denarius McGee and his receivers to really ad-lib is just unbelievable. Watch, he's looking. Gilbert had released upfield. He thought he might be able to come open. He throws it underneath, and then this is just Akpla shaking and baking and getting behind. Watch him get behind Dennehy at the end of this run. He's going to use the big boys. That is smart running out there, Chris.
And that is the final play of the first quarter. 15 minutes of football in the books. Montana State leads 7-0 over the Bengals from Idaho State. Simply dominant by Montana State. Just 10 yards of offense for the Bengals. 1 first down that came on a penalty. So the Bobcats with a 1st and 10 from the 10. Kirk out of the Bobcat formation. Pulls his way inside the 5, falls forward. Down to the, and a flag comes in at the end of the play.
Let's see what it looked like. It was something right at the end of the run.
There might have been a face mask on Cody Kirk at the end of the run.
Face mask on the defense. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic 1st down.
Well, that time MSU, they go watch the pull right guard Stephen Memory out in front of this one, and then you can just see, yeah, he's got a whole handful. It looked like 2 guys had that one, so doesn't really hurt him a whole lot. What they do, that's a 1-yard face mask penalty.
First down from the 2 out of the I formation to give us to Robinson. Robinson hit, Falls forward. He'll be just short of the first down. They'll mark him inside the 1, 2nd and goal.
Well, good job that time by getting a good push offensively. Just a big hole there again, but coming up and filling those run fills so far, ISU has been very solid, even though there's been a lot of pressure put on by just the size of the gaping holes that the front is creating.
Give is to Robinson again, met, and touchdown as Robinson stretches and breaks the plane. It's a touchdown for Montana State.
He just barely got in on that one, Chris. It was, again, a good job defensively. Watch him come up and fill there, but just able to drive his feet enough to put the ball and get 6 for Montana State.
So Robinson caps off the drive with the 1-yard touchdown run. That extends the lead to 13, and Jason Cunningham is on for the extra point. Paluska to hold. And the extra point is good. 14:09 to go, 2nd quarter. Montana State extends the lead to a couple of touchdowns. Up the clock, Robinson the 1-yard touchdown run as the Bobcats extend the lead to 14-0. We should mention, Mike, that today is Ag Appreciation Day on the campus of Montana State, an outstanding agricultural program, and some of them being recognized. I think that might have been the rodeo team down there in the end zone.
It was obviously a great tradition here, the ag department and the whole agricultural the contribution that Montana State makes statewide, educating all of our farmers and ranchers, and they have for a heck of a long time.
Cunningham gets his foot into this one, but the wind really holds it up. McSurdy will field it at the 15, and he falls forward to the 27-yard line, and by far the best field position the Bengals have had all afternoon. Let's take a look at the Montana State scoring drive here, and it got started. Denarius McGee on a beautiful pass to Tanner Bleskin.
Yeah, he fits that one in there unbelievably, and then just rolls out here, and again, making something happen when there's really not much there. Elvis Akla bends this thing all the way across the field and gets him in a good spot, and then boy, Trey sneaks it in there and finishes that one off.
The Yost play action. Rolls out of the pocket, got some running room. Here's Yost up over the 35 to the 40-yard line. Nice job by Yost, nothing doing downfield, and rolls it out and picks up a nice 11-yard gain and a first down for the Bengals.
Real heads-up play. This is more offense than they've had all day on this single play. There's just nothing there. He does a good job. There was a good block. You couldn't see it there, but Christian Kali'i was knocked inside right on the line of scrimmage and really opened that thing up. All your backers and DBs are out in coverage, so a lot of space for him to run in.
First down from the 41. Here's Yost. Looks and runs again. This time the little hook slide up close to the midfield. Give it the gain to the 48, and that's a nice little 7-yard gain.
Well, a lot of times when you've got a team like Montana State that loves to sack the quarterback, and you've got ISU who has given up bunches and bunches, you get a little too aggressive, particularly when a team doesn't rush the ball very well, and they're all working upfield really hard, and it's opening up some gaps and some running lanes for Yost to capitalize underneath.
Blitz coming off the corner. They throw a little screen pass out there. That's complete. Ball's on the ground, out of bounds. That should be enough for a first down.
Well, I think it'll depend on where they spot it. If they do call that a fumble, though, they obviously lost yardage after the catch. But you can see it. They do a nice job of getting the ball to the outside. Yost, little play fake inside. They got the little bubble out here, and he turns it upfield. But he fumbles this at the end.
Backwards.
Ball goes backwards out of bounds, so it is going to remain third down.
I think he would have had the first down, 3rd and 4 for the Bengals from the 48. Three receivers split right on 3rd down. Yost fires across the middle, caught and dropped. They had the first down, but Rumble just couldn't hang on to it. Grosslock in on coverage for the Cats. Alexi trying to work his way back from that serious knee injury. seeing limited time after having an outstanding freshman season last year.
Yeah, these are the kind of plays we're accustomed to seeing from him. He just drives up, and watch him come with the rake with the right hand and pop that thing free and force yet another punt. So watch out, fellas. This could be, this could get you low.
Grosslock, the sophomore out of Billings Central High School. Elvis Akpla stands at his 10-yard line. Reyes back to kick. Rolls, now looks and throws. And this is caught and dropped at the 45-yard line. They had a first down. Josh Hill simply dropped the football.
Yeah, this is tough. Reyes was a high school quarterback. We were told that before the game. This time he gets it wide open. Josh Hill, he turns his head upfield and just doesn't bring that one in. ISU clearly had Montana State's number on that play as he was wide open with plenty of room to run had he made the catch.
Hey, Elvis is in the house, huh?
We got a couple of Elvis,
Yeah.
one on the field and then one he's doing his
A little Star Trek guy.
Myers dance up there.
Thank you, everybody. First down from the 48 for Montana State. Little play action for McGree. Now the screen, inside screen to Akplo, takes it down to the 40-yard line. Gain of 7 on the play, 2nd and 3. Taken down by, believe that was Rouser, the defensive end, to make the stop, but not before he picks up 8 on the play.
Just brings him inside that block.
Hurry up
Picks up a
offense.
few, and now they're going
First down.
again here, Chris. Cody able to pick up some yardage on the outside that time. You can see that Montana State's offense is really doing a good job of changing up their tempo. You can see it surprising us a little bit because they'll run things towards the end of the clock, and then this one they're just very quickly back on the ball and pushing that thing upfield. Caught ISU a little bit on their heels.
First down gain to the 34 in the second quarter. This time Robinson inside handoff. Robinson to the 10, 5, touchdown Montana State. Wow, what a nice run by Trey Robinson, and it's 6 more for the Bobcats.
Well, after a little bit of a slow start, look at him, just gets behind the pole of Dennehy there, and then there's a hole there. That time those linebackers weren't at home, and Robinson busts that thing upfield, and just like that, Montana State is in the end zone again.
So the Bobcats strike again as Cunningham is on for the extra point. A 34-yard touchdown run by Trey Robinson. Cunningham's kick is up, and it is good. 11:34 to go in the second quarter. 21-0. We'll be back after these words from your local stations. You're watching Bobcat Game Day. Kirk, Mike, but Trey Robinson has been a terrific complement to his running abilities, and they don't lose a whole lot when Trey comes into the game.
They sure don't. It is a fantastic 1-2 punch that allows both of them to stay fresh throughout the ballgame.
And this one was a nice return up over the 40-yard line as Graves gives the Bengals excellent field position. Run out of bounds by Michael Foster, the backup linebacker for Montana State. And boy, look at the work on the offensive line, Mike, on this run by Robinson.
Yeah, watch Dennehy come across, make the kick out block there. Everybody else is sealed inside. Linebackers not home. They got washed down inside for Idaho State, and Trey Robinson makes a big, big run.
And you see the numbers on Yost, just 4 of 10 for 12 yards. First down from the 43. And now the screen pass intended for Daniels out of the backfield, incomplete. Second down. AJ?
Guys, it's amazing to think that just 2 months ago, Rob Ash was concerned with the kind of balance he was going to get on offense. Remember, Lorenzo Davis, the leading rusher, over 1,000 yards last year, not eligible for this season. That left it up to Cody Kirk and transfer Trey Robinson, and Ash had no idea what to expect from his running backs. Now Kirk is closing in on 1,000 yards, Robinson on 400, and you add Denarius McGee in there. It's become one of the top rushing attacks in the country.
Wow, what a stick by John Ledette. And Daniels is just swallowed behind the line of scrimmage.
That's his second good solid play in a row. Watch this. He just slides the block, steps up, squares up, and drives that man in the back room. He was going nowhere that time. Ledet, the previous play, had done a great job of recognizing that little swing pass and pulled out of his pass rush and got out there and disrupted that thing as well. So good to see the senior having a big day.
3rd and 12. Here's Yost, fires across the middle. This time the catch is made and a first down inside the 40-yard line. Beautiful catch by Luke Austin, and all kinds of pressure on Yost, and that's the Bengals really their first big play on offense this afternoon, Mike.
Yeah, it is. They've had some opportunities, but they're just a nice, they have a little stunt going up front here. You can see the X is Ledet, but really no one stopping him from stepping up in the middle and delivering the football. That's where that kind of one of the things from that X where it can take a little bit away from your pass rush if it doesn't work perfectly, is there's no one there to really force that throw.
That one intended for Rumble, incomplete pass. Well, look at what this Bengal offense is up against, Mike. Montana State defense right now, #1 in rush defense. This is in the Big Sky. #1 in pass defense and #1 in total defense. I don't know how you get any better than that. So for a team that's...
You forgot scoring defense, pass efficiency defense. There's a whole bunch more. You're right,
I
Chris.
gave you the big three.
They have got all kinds of numbers on defensive side of the football. Most of them end in 1 when you're talking about those conference rankings.
Yeah, 2nd and 10. Daniels incomplete. He was open, but Yost simply threw it out of his hands. Incomplete pass will bring up 3rd down. The Montana State defense has just absolutely been amazing this year, and boy, everybody, whether it's the down 4, the linebackers, the cover corners, they've all been terrific.
They have, and they came into this season with a chip on their shoulder, Chris, because Montana State traditionally, 6 of the last 9 years has been #1 in the conference in defense. 2010 last year, that group was 5th. They weren't happy with that performance, and they've gone about their business to make a big change.
And a Rumble, almost a sensational catch. Good coverage back there for Montana State as Denarius Jones was locked up in coverage on Rumble. And boy, I tell you what, the defense has given Yost all kinds of things to look at. I mean, they're showing blitz, dropping off.
Yeah,
and look at that.
And that time you can see why he is, that's 13 on 13. That's Idaho State's best pass catcher and the best defender on Montana State. But it's going to bring up 4th and 10, and they are going to go.
Ball is at the 38-yard line, down 3 touchdowns. They're going to go. Here's Yost. Now looks, he's going to be hit from behind and taken down. Nothing doing as Ledet again brings Yost down at the 41, and Montana State will take over after the loss of 3.
I think that was the pass rush specialist, Brad Daly, who gets a first whack at him. Bignell is there as well, but he comes off his rush, comes back up. Bignell right in front of him. Schreibeis maybe gets the first one. Again, that's going to be one of those film room battles about those guys decide who's going to get the credit for that one. But, 3 defenders there for the Montana State defense.
So the Bobcats take over on downs from the 41, 1st and 10. 10 minutes to go, 2nd quarter. Here's McGee on play action. Rolls out of pressure, still looking. And now we'll just throw it away. Nice job by the Bengals secondary that time. McGee simply had no one to throw to.
Yeah, all kinds of time, but no open targets for McGee downfield. So credit that defense. That defense has been played pretty well at times. They haven't been getting a lot of help from their offense. They have just been on the field so far, a very disparate amount of time in it. They only a couple of first downs for that ISU offense, so they got to give these guys a rest.
2nd down on the incomplete pass. Robinson and Kirk are in the backfield. And Flocketer's in. He's split to the left out there. And to give us to Robinson. Robinson up the middle. He's got some running room. Robinson to the 30, to the 20, to the 15. Trey Robinson inside the 10-yard line. First down, Montana State.
Wow. Look at the hole up front. Nice cut back, the seal block from the backside, and this is just a straight line. There's not a lot of moving on that one, Chris. He sees the end zone, and he is going straight for it, but wow, Robinson having a big afternoon so far.
Everett Gilbert stretches for the end zone. They'll mark him just short. Just short of the goal line. Boy, I thought he got in, but they're going to mark him inside the 1.
Boy, this Montana State offense, after struggling a little bit early, they come out, they throw an interception. They're forced to punt 2 times in a row, and now it's just boom, 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 3 touchdowns and nearly another one as Gilbert comes just short
Timeout.
on that one.
Idaho State, second charge timeout.
Bengals will take a timeout. Boy, that's awful close. Let's take a look at it one more time.
Well, I'm not sure what happened on this play, but Coach Kramer called timeout because he wanted to have a conversation with the linesman on this side of the field. He did that. I'm not sure what he saw. I didn't pick up anything that he obviously felt like there was a penalty on that play, but I didn't see it.
McGee up under center. The give is to Kirk, and Cody Kirk just walks into the end zone.
Wow.
Barely touched. Wow, 27-0.
Cody's 10th rushing touchdown of this season so far, but really give some credit where it belongs. And then up front, and they're on the backers. They've got the tight end. Looked like Robinson was on the backer, sealed there. They were just knowing nobody there, and that's a great job. And for a 1,000-yard effort so far this season for Cody Kirk. Nice to top that one off. Get that 1,000th yard running into the end zone.
Cunningham on for the extra point. It's good. 9:10 to go, second quarter. 28-0. Our score. It's all Montana State in half number 1. Boy, Mike, everything on paper, all Montana State. 227 yards now of total offense. Just 47 for the Bengals. Boy,
Yeah,
Cunningham's kick just went straight up in the air. And this is a live football.
Boy, I think Montana State may have come up with that one, Chris. Kind of a crazy play, but we're seeing that wind come into play here. And they're going to give it to Idaho State, but watch out, watch the scramble for this one as it just takes a kind of a funny hop here, then it's on the ground, and boy, once it gets in there, you don't know who's coming up with it.
McSurdy got it, and well, what happened there, Mike, the wind is, we talked about, so stiff, and Cunningham kicking directly into it, and that ball came off his foot and then just went straight up in the air. So Yost will come on and try to get things going. 5 of 17 for 31 yards. Keep in mind, this is a quarterback that throws for over 300 yards a game. First down. Rumble. Incomplete.
And quite frankly and honestly, Chris, this is a quarterback who's not getting a whole lot of help from some of his receivers today. He's had several balls that not only could have been caught, but really should have been caught. I would credit that one as one of them. Rundle that time not able to bring that one in, but Yost, for the most part, had to look a little bit shaky on a couple of those swing patterns, but has delivered the ball pretty effectively.
2nd and 10 on the incompletion. And again, Yost pulls it down. That's been their best offense today, where there's so much pressure coming off the corners for Montana State. But the only thing he can do, Mike, is step up into the pocket and try to find a running lane.
Yeah, he steps up this time to watch 96 Zach with a little exchange that time with Kali'i. Just not able to get an arm on him, but gets help. Clay Bignell has done a really nice job of sealing him off and allowing those scrambles not to turn into very big yardage.
Gain of 4 on the play, 3rd and 6 from the 27. Here's Yost. Again, runs out of pressure, now throws downfield, has a man wide open. Graves to the 20, the 10, 5, and touchdown, Idaho State. Somehow, Graves got behind the defense and was all alone, and Yost hooks up with him for the touchdown.
Well, watch, the breakdown initially is up front on the end. They lose contain here and allow him to step outside the pocket, and the DBs had come up, Chris, and committed to the run that time when he broke the pocket, and a good heads-up play, getting that thing out. Boy, that's a big stretch there for Graves as he gets Idaho State on the scoreboard.
So the young man out of Stockton, California scores the touchdown, and the Bengals are on the board in the extra point. No good. So 8:12 to go in the second quarter. Idaho State on the board on a long touchdown strike, 28-6.
Looked like some confusion on the kickoff team on the sideline for ISU, so they may have another surprise in store for Montana State. They've got the wind behind them this time to definitely get the ball deep, but as we've seen so far, they are willing to pull out the stops. We've seen the onside kick, the fake punt, so be ready for a surprise.
Brendan Garcia has the wind at his back, gets a foot into it. This one's coming down to Gilbert, way back in the end zone, and he's going to take a knee. Thought about it.
Yeah. Gilbert wasn't quite sure, but let's see on as we take another look at the touchdown for ISU.
How does he get that open?
It's just a breakdown in coverage, and we can't see it from this shot except, well, you see the safeties. There was a dig route underneath that we didn't see originally that both the corner and the safety on that side bid on, but how about the speed of Stephen Bethley?
Yeah.
That's a pretty good close. He came from the safety on the other side of the field and almost kept that one from getting in the end zone.
The numbers on Denarius has thrown just 8 times today, 4 of 8 with 1 interception. It's been a run-oriented offense, and you can see why as Cody Kirk hammers his way up to the 28-yard line. That'll bring up 2nd and 2. Taken down by Jake Rouser.
Seeing the other half of the tandem here that time. Cody just cuts inside of the backer Houdin and makes a nice play upfield. As he always does, he is constantly pushing that thing north and south.
Gain of 8, 2nd and 2. And here's Cody again. Now cuts inside, busted to the outside, 1 man to beat. Cody at the 30. To the 20, to the 15, 10, 5, touchdown Montana State. Cody Kirk from the 28-yard line takes it 72 yards for the score.
And who says Cody's got no wheels, huh? He gets the power back wrap, which he certainly is, but watch him as he changes the ball to the left side here. He's looking for somebody, and there's nobody there, so he cranks up the afterburner. A little bit of an arm tackle there is not going to bring down that young man. 72 yards for Cody Kirk. That'll go a long way to working him for that next 1,000, Chris.
So Cunningham on for the extra point. And it is no good. Hits the right bar. So 34-6 on the missed extra point.
Well, Cunningham, you know that even though he's into the wind, that will drive him nuts because he is just an exceptional kicker. But watch the give here. Cody off the right side gets it behind Dennehy again, but as he cuts it back, just finds a lot of open room with no tacklers in sight and pumps this thing in the end zone.
Tanner Davis, the only one that had a shot at him, but Kirk just showing some speed.
Yeah, wheels, Cody, come on.
He broke it to the outside to start the play, and then once he cut it back up inside, just made a beeline for the end zone, and no one caught him. 2 plays, 80 yards.
You can see his ball security is so good because of that, and he's very efficient in getting that ball to the outside. But when he made the transfer and checked inside for pressure, there was nobody there.
You know, Mike, too, one of the things that's so impressive about the Montana State offense, they can play any kind of game they want to play. I mean, if they want to play a passing game, they can play with the best of them. But when they know they can pound the football, that ground and pound offense, they can do that just as well. And you're seeing it today. Now they have a big lead, and so they're going to take time off the clock. And we're not seeing Denarius throw the ball at all this afternoon. He's only thrown it 8 times.
No, really, and a lot of those passes coming very early, and then was able to get Akpla a couple of times. But, yeah, it has been pretty quiet in the passing game. But, as you said, it is there, and it's the ever threat of that upfield passing game that really helps you in the rush.
Ball is taken by McSurdy inside the 10, tries to get the corner, won't get there. Nice job by the special teams as Howard is in on the tackle, and the Bengals again, lousy field position. And that's the difference really in these two offenses. The Bengals are very one-dimensional. All they can do is throw the football. Montana State, they can do the wide open offense, they can run the ball, and it just depends really on the flow of the game.
It forces the defense to defend each and every option on every snap, not to overload any one possibility, and it just makes it very, very difficult.
Here's Yost looks, he throws long, and this one is almost caught by Rumble at the 45-yard line. They had double coverage, and Rumble unable to come down with it at the 45.
Jones is on the outside playing this with the safety over the top. Fuller comes from the middle, and he just gets a handful here. Not sure on the timing of that. Rundle in the ISU coaching box, I can tell you, thought that hand came in a little early. Couldn't pick it up on the replay. Nonetheless, 2nd and 10 for Idaho State.
Ball is at the 13-yard line now. Yost fires out to his left. This time's caught by Austin. Austin stretching to the 20 to the 21. That'll bring up 3rd and 2. And Houdin again in a stop for, or rather, not Houdin, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was Zach Coleman from Montana State. A nice open field tackle out there. Those are the things that this offense can put pressure on a defense with, is get you out in space and force you to make great open field tackles. That time a solid job by Coleman.
Gain of 7 on the play, brings up 3rd and 3 from the 20. 4 receiver set now for Yost. Yost pulls it down, looks, got some running room, and Yost will have a first down as he takes it up to the 27-yard line. And again, pressure comes from the outside. Yost steps up inside and gets the first down.
He's doing a great job this time. Watch, you see Bignell there. Watch, he'll float underneath with the tight end, Josh Hill, allowing the quarterback Yost to get that thing up the field and get enough to move the chains. Really, that has been, with the exception of the one pass up top to Graves, that has been the only thing they've been able to get going, is a little bit of scramble and rush it upfield.
Yost fires it out here at the 40, and Rumble brings it in at the 41-yard line. Yeah, it's a catch and a first down. Beautiful catch by Rumble.
Rumble does a nice job of coming back to this one. Yost hit as he's trying to release that one, so there's not a lot of zip on the ball, but he just comes back and goes down and gets it. Now you can see why he averages over 10 catches a contest.
In Missoula, Weber State has the early 3-0 lead over Montana. First down for the Bengals. Here comes pressure up the middle, and this one is knocked down by Grosselach.
Well, that time Montana was in a base defense, but they had just the one safety over the top, and they were bringing the backer Grosselach. And watch this guy for the 2nd time today. The name that we called all the time last year is making a big play for that Bobcat defense, coming off the edge on the blitz, getting those hands up and knocking that thing down.
Incomplete pass, 2nd and 10. Yost has 3 receivers split left. Daniels in the backfield. Play clock winding down to 5 seconds. Yost pulls it down, now throws, has Rumble at the 45. And a short gain on the play. Rumble with the catch. And Jones in on the stop for Montana State.
Well, we're starting to see these two hook up. They have completed the passes to Rundle for 85 times coming into today.
Can you believe that?
They've got some great communication on that one.
85 catches for Rumble coming into this game. I mean, that's a season for a lot of guys.
Yeah, a great season.
3rd and 6, gain of 4 on the play. Here's Yost, pressure coming, and this time he won't get out of it. I think, and again, Schreibeis and Daly in on the tackle for Montana State.
Yeah, Schreibeis and Daly are coming on the ends. They've got pressure up the middle as well. That looked, not sure who they're going to give that one to.
Is that going to be another fight in the film room?
I think so. Daly got the first touch on him. He's going to say that was just a strong push, grinding him into the ground. But really, that was a sack. It should be credited to that whole front group because they collapsed the pocket inside out.
So Reyes will be forced to kick it away inside the 30. And this time gets off a pretty good kick. And it's going to hit and bounce inside the 20 to the 17-yard line. So Reyes with a nice job that time. Wind at his back will put Montana State inside the 20. They'll mark it right at the 16.
Yeah, that roll punting, it isn't pretty, it isn't sexy, but I'll tell you what, it's very effective for them. Particularly when you've got the wind at your back like that, and you can get that solid roll. It puts pressure on you to defend it now that they've shown the fake. So really, without their All-American punter, but getting a pretty good job down there with Plan B.
The I formation, Foster leading Robinson, and Robinson's got running room. It's a foot race. Robinson to the 50, down to the 40-yard line, and Trey Robinson finally taken out of bounds by the defensive back for the Bengals, but not before Robinson gets it into Idaho State territory.
Boy, Montana State's offense is just ripping off yards in huge chunks in that running game now. It is a combination of Cody Kirk and Trey Robinson. They are both getting a ton of opportunities to have the ball in space because of that offensive line, and they're just dominating that up front line of scrimmage. And now they struggled getting to that second level and getting those backers blocked on those first two possessions, but now they have just really owned ISU in this second quarter.
Well, they got to be close to 400 yards rushing here in the first half. Kirk takes it up inside the 35 all the way down to the 32-yard line. He'll be a half yard short of a first down.
Well,
Ryan Coleman the stop.
Look at it as we look back to the play before and watch. It's just, I mean, they are rushing all over these guys. In gets a good seal, good kick out from memory, and then the back is able to feel his way to the outside, and a lot of space. Again, not a lot of white jerseys visible at the beginning of that play.
So Kirk gets 9 on the play, second and a short one. And this will be a first down carry inside the 30 to the 29. So the Bobcats working some clock here as we're winding down to the 3-minute mark of the second quarter.
Well, we've seen them continue to keep this thing on the ground. You wonder if they will do that, if they will use one of the 3 timeouts that they've got and try and put another one on the board. You know, it's still the first half, Chris, and you've got to go out and try and get every point you can. I certainly don't think they'd be out of line if they went up top a little bit or try to exercise some of those timeouts. But look at the numbers for those 2 running backs.
Here's McGee now on play action, looking for Foster, who was all alone at the 5-yard line and simply threw the ball a little bit too far. And that's what happens, Mike, when you're so successful running the football. Eventually you're going to play action and someone's going to be wide open.
Yeah, that whole ISU defense was sucked up, as you can understand they would be with. They've already given up over 300 plus yards rushing, but that time Denarius just wasn't able to deliver the ball in a place where it could be caught. Unusual for him.
Ball at the 28-yard line, incomplete pass, 2nd and 10. And this time they'll stay on the ground. Kirk is met right at the line of scrimmage. And that time a nice job by the Bengals. That's big 95. Jake Rouser in on the stop for Cody. No gain, and sets up 3rd down.
Yeah, Rouser coming from his in position does a nice job of closing down the line and wrapping up Cody, which is no easy job. So that's a nice job by the defensive front. That time really the best we've seen so far since we got into the second quarter.
Soccer match.
3rd down, clock continues to run. We're inside 2 minutes. Montana State still with all 3 of its timeouts remaining here in the first half. Robinson in the backfield for McGee. Here's McGee looking, still looking. Now they throw underneath to Robinson. Great move at the 25, and Robinson very close to the first down as he gets it down to the 18.
Boy, great patience that time by Denarius McGee. A double X stunt up front for ISU. Patiently waits, his back breaks underneath, and he's going to be able to just nearly pick up the first down, but they are going to mark it just short. Clearly looks like a 2-down situation, a 4th down where you got to go with that wind in your face. Be a very tough field goal from that distance.
3 tight ends set on 4th down. So the big fellas are in the lineup. McGee under center. They give us to Robinson. A first down and more inside the 15 to the 13-yard line. First down for Montana State. Again, the Bobcats have all 3 timeouts remaining, so plenty of time here.
Yeah, look at the blocking here. He just gets behind the tight end that time, who comes inside. But the backers for ISU able to make the stop. But it is a first down. Montana State's got 52 seconds to try and get this thing in the end zone to close out the half.
Now inside 40 seconds. Clock running. Here's McGee. They stay on the ground to Robinson. Robinson inside the 10. Falls forward to the 8.
Well, I think it was Rouser that did another good job, and I think also the backer that time, 35 JT Alberts, does a nice job of scraping the hole and stopping that one.
So Montana State will take a timeout with 29 seconds remaining here in the second quarter. They're looking at a 2nd and 6 from the 13-yard line. And Trey Robinson doesn't look like he's all that fast. He kind of glides through the line of scrimmage. But I'll tell you, Mike, once he gets through the initial line and he steps on it, he can fly.
What he's been showing the last few games is that he wasn't showing early on was that burst right as when he hits the line of scrimmage and he's trying to make that move to get to the backers and to the second level. He's just got another gear that sort of clicks in there, and you can see he's used it to spring himself pretty effectively today.
7:34 to go in quarter number 1 in Missoula. Montana has taken a 7-3 lead over Weber State. Boy, the Grizz right in the playoff hunt as well, 11th in the country right now, and they've certainly played well after that tough start to the season. They had 4 really tough games to begin, and they're in the hunt. Weber State could be in the hunt if they win today. I think their only path would be, as we talked about, to win the Big Sky. And then you've got Montana State and Eastern Washington.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of teams out there that are still in it. Things will be a whole lot different when we get to about 4 or 5 o'clock today. It's going to really clear up the picture as we go into the final 3 weeks of the Big Sky season.
2nd and 6 for Montana State. Here's McGee. Play action now, looks at the back of the end zone for Akpla, in and out of the hands, incomplete pass. Boy, he had it. But good coverage back there by Idaho State. That was Ryan Coleman in coverage, and he may have got a hand in it and knocked this away.
Well, you can see this one looks like it's delivered. It's in the hands for a period of time, but that rake comes down with that right hand, pulling that thing away. That is a great defensive effort by Coleman. You know, you got to credit these guys. They have been run over in this first half, but there is still a lot of fight left in this ISU defense.
So the incomplete pass will bring up 3rd and 6. From the 9, here's McGee. Looking now. Gonna roll out and breaks a tackle, and this time finally gets it to Ellis. And Ellis, all that running around, maybe a yard gain on the play, will set up 4th down.
Yeah, again, those DBs did a nice job in coverage for ISU. McGee's got all the time in the world. He tries to lengthen the play. He breaks the pocket to the right side and lets somebody come open, but that time no one was able to break free, and they will be forced with the field goal try.
Austin Graves supplied the pressure for the Bengals as forced McGee out of the pocket. So here's Cunningham, the spot of the ball at the 15. So this will be a 25-yard field goal attempt, right hash and into the wind. Ball down, kick on the way, got plenty of leg into it, and it's good. So with 9 ticks remaining in quarter number 2, Montana State extends the lead to 37-6. By all accounts, a good stand by Idaho State, showing some fight here late in the second quarter.
Absolutely.
AJ, so Montana State extends the lead here. Cunningham will kick. And Montana State will go into the locker room with a healthy lead here in Bozeman. And now there's a lot of work to be done with this Idaho State program, but it's not like Coach Kramer hasn't done it before.
No, he's a winner, and he's going to be a winner at Idaho State. There's no doubt in my mind. But, you know, like you say, it's a big hole to dig out. It's going to take a lot of work.
McSurdy will field it, and he brings it up to the 30-yard line. And there'll be time for one more play before the half. Well, keep in mind, when he came to Eastern Washington, Mike, he took over a very bad Eagles program. They had terrible facilities there. They were kind of the doormat of the league. Took them to the Final Four of what was then the 1AA National Championships. I think they lost to Youngstown State in the semifinals, but that was unheard of.
And a game that they really should have won. They made some mistakes. I was at that game. Yeah, Coach was able to get together with him last night and talk. And, you know, he says to a certain extent, it's kind of Groundhog's Day where you've got to live some of these things, those growing pains over again to get this program on track and headed in the direction you need to go.
So that'll do it for half number 1 in a first half that was dominated by Montana State, really on both sides of the football. They lead it 37-6. over the Bengals. Of course, more important for Montana State is to get the win and move forward in the Big Sky Conference. They've won 8 straight games, looking for win number 9 on the season. With a victory today, they're unbeaten in the Big Sky Conference. They stand alone at 5-0. And of course, as we get down to the stretch drive now, Mike, every game becomes critical. Every win becomes that much more important as you look to the postseason.
It certainly does, and the ability to get playoff eligible today and then go out and try and close out the conference with a couple of wins and get, you know, what you would hope to be a high seeding, allow you to get some home games, but really can't look too far to the future left. They got to play another half of football here first.
All right, well, we are at halftime in a 37-6 game on the other side of the football to Montana State and head coach Rob Ash. I mean, they have put together an unbelievable team on both sides of the football. Really impressed with the running game. It's been good all season. But when they decide that they're going to chew clock, run the football, control the line of scrimmage offensively, man, they can do it. And not just today, Mike, but they've been doing this all season.
They really have, and you can see the numbers are going to be huge today. But you're right, it's been building and building, and they do it with that balance that we talked about, and you've got to defend everything on every snap, and they are too tough for this ISU defense this afternoon.
Well, Mike, as we look at the Callahan game breaker, I know who you're going to go with because we saw it a couple of times in that first half.
Yeah, Trey Robinson has been unbelievable today. And look at him break through right up the middle on this one, and he is just chugging and then holding on the ball at the end. But he has had several large runs, as has his backfield mate Cody Kirk. But they have been unbelievable in the running game today.
Well, between the two of them, they're over 300 yards in the first half. And on the flip side of that, Denarius McGee has only passed the ball 8 times in the first half, and you would not expect that for this kind of a wide-open offense, but it just shows that you can go a lot of different ways. But this running offense has been superb this afternoon.
They really have, and credit not only those 2 running backs, but that big offensive front.
Yeah, no question. Well, the Wendy's halftime report just gave
June of 2007, Rob Ash came from Drake and was named the head coach of Montana State football. That was 07. Now, 5 seasons later, Ash has turned the program into one of the most elite in the country.
So we now announce that Rob Ash and Margaret Ash are joining the Bobcat family, as Rob Ash is the new head football coach at Montana State University.
We will have high standards of expectations for them in 3 areas: on the field, in the classroom, and in the community.
I came in here with a philosophy that we would try to excel in all 3 areas that are important: on the field, in the classroom, and in our community.
On the field, in the classroom, in the community. The pillars of success today are, word for word, exactly what they were over 4 years ago when Rob Ash became Montana State's head football coach. And Ash says it's been the same since his first year at Juniata. In 2007, he took over a program in flux. Today, it's one of the top FCS programs in the country.
It's came a long ways in the 4 years or 5 years that I've been here. It's really amazing when you look at it to see the attitude of the team. You know, we hoped to win when I got there, and we expect to win now.
We're a championship team now. You know, we're competing for Big Sky conferences every year now, and that wasn't the way it was our first year here. I know the year before I got here, they went to the playoffs and they had a good run there, but now we're, I think, a little bit more consistent team.
Ash came in and established consistency, which led to higher expectations. His teams have steadily improved, culminating in what fans have seen the last 2 years. He holds his players to high standards, and it's his leadership that has guided his team.
Being here since Coach Ash's first day, it's just great to just see where the program was to where it is now, and Coach Ash has a lot to do with that. And it's just, Coach Ash has just done a lot with leadership, and he just changed the program, and there's just so much excitement going on around Bobcat football right now. It's just great to be a part of it right now.
We love to win. We stress it's all about, you know, it's all about winning in life, winning in anything that you do, and it carries on to the football field, and that's something that Coach Ash has instilled in all of us, that not only on the football field, that off the field, after college, after you graduate, that these lessons that we learn winning football games will be valued valuable down the road.
What's established now is a top-tier football program filled with quality players who have excellent reputations in the classroom and community as well. That's the way Rob Ashe has always wanted it to be, and right now it is.
Everybody on this football team wants the Bobcat logo, which we call our brand, to be a logo that people associate with class and success and dignity and doing things the right way. And nobody wants to have that logo get tarnished in any way, in any aspect, with our academic performance, our behavior out in the community, or with what we do on the field. Our guys are so proud of the Bobcat logo and the Bobcat program. Nobody wants to be the guy that's going to tarnish that, because it would knock down the efforts that everybody else has put into it. And they're very accountable to each other for that, and very proud of what we've got established.
I think it's important to note that now this is completely Rob Ashe's team in his 5th season. None of the current players on the team ever played for Mike Kramer, though a few of the 5th-year seniors were recruited by him. But for now, this is now entirely Rob Ashe's team, and it shows in the quality of what we've seen the last 2 seasons. We're going to take another quick break here on the Wendy's Halftime Report.
Yeah, those are crazy big on the Montana State side, particularly when you look that they have put up 321 of them in rushing alone. That's an amazing first half for Montana State. On the other side, we look at Idaho State, really have been very ineffective on offense. They have 131 yards passing, 77 of that coming on the one play. So they have not been able to be consistent, as you can see by really the time of possession is lopsided as well, but it's really been all Montana State in the first half of football.
Yeah, and you said if you take away that long pass play that Idaho State had in the first half, they would be well under 100 yards of total offense. So certainly the goal for the Bengals and Mike Kramer right now is to come out, try to execute a little bit, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of players from Montana State that normally don't get a lot of playing time, and we'll see some new faces in that on both sides of the football in the second half.
Yeah, Mike Kramer said early on, judge us by how we played, not necessarily the winning and losing this year, because we got a lot of work to do. We got to build some character, and the second half is going to give them an opportunity to do so.
Stay with us. The Wendy's Halftime Report rolls on from Bobcat Stadium.
Halftime Report, joined now by Montana State head coach Rob Ashe. Coach, you said you wanted to control the tempo earlier this week against a team like Idaho State. I would say you did that in the first half.
Yeah, the running game has really done that for us. We've been able to get big plays, also take the time off the clock, and I think our defensive unit's doing an excellent job too of, just coming up and making solid tackles and run and short pass.
So a 31-point lead going into the second half. What do we expect to see in the second half?
Well, I told the team at halftime we're going to start the second half just exactly like we started the first half, like it's 0-0. I know it's a long game, anything can happen, so we've got to make sure we take care of the football, get back on track again here throughout most of the third quarter. Then if we still have a lead, maybe we'll try to get some guys in the game, but I never assume that's going to happen.
All right, Coach, thanks. Chris, back to you.
All right, now, well, he answered the question for us. You and I were talking about that, but they're going to come out with their starting unit. Let's take a look at the highlights of the first half. And for Idaho State, Mike, a pretty good way to start the game as they get the interception on Denarius McGee.
Yeah, early on, Henley steps in front. They get the pick, not able to do anything with it offensively. And then this is when the Bobcats sort of established their dominance in this game. Was in this series where they just got a full dose of Cody Kirk out of that Bobcat formation, gets in the end zone. Then we see one of the few times today where they put the ball in the air. Beautiful pass there to Bleskin.
Oh, yeah, and then Trey Robinson had a sensational first half. Short touchdown run there. And then the Idaho State offense had a chance here, but the drop pass, that was on a fourth down. Montana State got it back, and then look what happened. Trey Robinson gets through the first initial wave, and then look at him turn on the Jets. Touchdown for the Bobcats.
Yeah, Cody comes in and finishes it off, but both these two, Robinson and Kirk, have had huge first half today, both over up 150 yards in rushing. Here we see Idaho State, they come back with their one answer, the long play to Graves.
Yeah, so they get on the board there, but then the Bobcats kept the pressure on offense, and again, a terrific run by Cody Kirk, and he shows his speed, and then straight up the middle, outruns the Bengal defense in for the touchdown, and that's when the Bobcats really started to break the game open. Then Denarius McGee, one more time as he looks, and then fires underneath to Robinson, and check out the move here, and that would set up yet another scoring opportunity as Cunningham hits the field goal. 37-6 is where we stand at the half, and it's Kirk time in Bozeman. The fans love him.
Well, there's some of your other buddies that came over from Billings to support you today.
I always bring my friends along, Mike. I'm bringing my posse. I got
van,
my posse
right?
with me
you
today.
come in that big van?
Oh, are we going to have fun going home? I mean, that's the fun bunch right there.
Well, it was Idaho State who won the toss, deferred to the second half, so they will get the ball to start this thing, and it looks like they're going to be kind of bucking that wind to get things going as they try to establish something on offense.
I think the underwear is supposed to go on first, but hey.
That's always been my understanding, but you know, fashion today is something that's really passed me by.
We're standing in tall cotton with this crowd today, I'll tell you. Yeah, you're right. Idaho State does get the football to start the second half. McSurdy and Daniels back to receive, or Graves back to receive. Cunningham have the wind at his back to start the second half.
The wind's been a little bit tricky as we've kind of watched it, you know, with a little bit more interest than usual, because we haven't seen how this new stadium configuration is going to affect things, but it looks like it down on the field there's not nearly as much as it when you get that ball up in the air, and you can see this one gets up in the jet stream and just flies out the back of the end zone.
No chance for the return, so the Bengals have the football to start the third quarter. All right, Mike, I'll let you put your coach's hat on here, and if you Coach Kramer and the Bengals, what do we look to do here in quarter number 3?
You know, I think you gotta forget about the score and do what you do. Not worry about what Montana State does, but try and get some execution going in your passing game, because that's where you live and die. And try and make sure that you stay in the game with effort. That time, nothing there. John Ledette, as he did in the first half, has done a very nice job of recognizing that swing pass, breaking off his pass rush, and getting width there. That time, Yost really had to kind of toss it away.
Yost 9 of 24, $131 in that touchdown in the first quarter. Incomplete pass brings up 2nd and 10, just underway third quarter. Yost looks left, breaks one tackle, now brings it down, and he'll carry it. Gets it up close to the 20-yard line. Basically just back to the line of scrimmage. Up third down. Good job by Jody Owens, the linebacker, to bring him down.
It's a big challenge when you have a quarterback like Yost who's continually breaking these things up the field. You've got to be pretty disciplined on the linebacker side, not to come up too early and give him a chance to pop that ball over the top like we saw him do once in the first half. But that time, Owens does a nice job of coming up and wrapping him up for virtually no gain.
Brian Bignell checks in for the Cats on third down. There's a loss of 1 on the play. Opening possession for Idaho State here in the third quarter. Here's Yost. Looks, now fires across the middle. This one's intercepted. Intercepted and coming back the other way. That's Clay Bignell. And Bignell takes the tip pass and returns it down inside the 20 for Montana State.
Well, this ball is delivered pretty well to the running back coming out of the backfield. I believe it was number 21, Gerald Daniels, but it just goes right through his hands. Bignell heads up on the tipped ball. That's the thing you work on all week long as a linebacker. Watch it from the other side. Comes underneath. The ball is just through the hands of Daniels, and then Bignell with another for his first interception. You know, Montana State hasn't got a lot of takeaways, only 10 on the season coming into today. There's number 11, and it's a senior Bignell making a play.
So Montana State with first down from the 19-yard line. They stay on the ground to Kirk, and Kirk up inside the 10. And Cody Kirk, good hard running down close to the 5-yard line. Taken down by Monga, but not before he picks up a first down. It'll be 1st and goal. Oh, no, I checked that. It'll be 2nd and 3.
Yeah,
there's
Cody's
the numbers on
go
Cody.
To the sideline this time. They're going to bring in Robinson and a couple of the tight ends and go with their big set here. You know, really no reason to throw the ball the way they're rushing it today.
2nd and 3 from the 7. Foster, the tight end, leads for Robinson. And Robinson looks for a little running room. Good job by the Idaho State defense that time, very close to a first down. I think he's going to be about a half-yard short.
Yeah, good pressing up front by the DBs and the linebackers. When you've got the short field like this, you know Montana State's not going to throw it. You can really stuff up everybody in the run and fill those gaps, and that time they did a nice job bringing up the 3rd and 1.
Perkins checks in, Cody Kirk back in. The give is to Kirk. Kirk gets outside, falls forward, And to be short of the goal line, but it's a first down. Henley with the tackle.
Storm is out there helping Henley. Watch Storm come from the middle, flows across the middle of that thing and scrapes the outside. That's a nice linebacker play by the senior for ISU.
First and goal now from the 2-yard line. Bluskin checks in at wide receiver. Salanoa in the backfield along with Kirk. Out of the eye to give us to Kirk. And Cody left side hit at the line of scrimmage and stopped short of the goal line. And it'll be second and goal. Better job that time for the Idaho State defense.
Yeah, they are stuffing it up front. They're bringing people up in these gaps. They're chopping guys down low and allowing their backers to come up, and that's just a great stop. It has been tough sledding down there. The first ones came easy, but these last 2 or 3 have been pretty tough.
Second and 2, the ball on the 2 for Montana State. Now Kirk out of the Bobcat formation. Runs up over the left side and into the end zone for the touchdown. So Cody Kirk, who else from 2 yards out, extends the Montana State lead.
Boy, watch right guard Stephen Memory come across here and just make the key block. Cody is very smart and patient, lets his lineman clear the center and get in front, follows him into the end zone for another Montana State touchdown.
43-6 now as Cunningham is on for the extra point. Paluska will hold. Kick on the way, and it's good. 11:41 to go, third quarter. All Montana State as they extend the lead over the Bengals. Dakota leads Northern Colorado 7-0. Cunningham's kick, back of the end zone. That'll be a touchback. Latest Ford scoring drive, 3 plays, 38 yards. Denarius McGee to Elvis Akpla for 23 yards and a touchdown, and it's now 51-6.
Well, just another great job. Those 2 quick scores in the second half, both triggered by the defense coming up with the turnover to begin with, and then they had the 3 and out with the sacks, which just gave Montana State's offense a short field on both occasions.
Oh, wow, look at the total offense. 436 yards for MSU, just 143 for the Bengals. Here's Yost, fires out there, and that's complete at the 35. And Rumble on the receiving end, and that's enough for the first down.
Well, Rumble, we talked about him. He comes in with more catches than anybody in the FCS. These two have hooked up. Now it's got to be with that catch. He's got to be close to 5 receptions, I think, today. That's over 90 times, Chris, that these two guys have played catch this season. That's just an unbelievable number.
First down catch to the 37. Little screen pass out there to Rumble. You're starting to see some substitutions now in the Montana State defense as Zach Coleman is checked in the backfield.
Robert Marshall back there as well, but that time it was the veteran Jones that comes up and does a nice job out there, fights off that stock block and makes the tackle there for no gain.
2nd and 10 for the Bengals. Yost looks left, now fires, and that is incomplete. And it looked like Coleman just stepped in front of the ball to knock it away. Good job. That was intended for Anthony Boyles. Incomplete pass, 3rd down.
Yep, Royals is the transfer from the University of Washington, Nick, a kid that's already graduated and was free to move. And this one, he's just bobbling a little bit. Coleman comes up and makes sure that he's not able to hold on.
Third down from the 37. Here's Yost. Looks, throws, and incomplete, 4th down. I think he was looking for Rumble on the deep pattern, but Coleman had him bottled up.
Yeah, and again, for I don't know how many times, not much time to get rid of the football. And Brad Daly and Christian Kalihi were right on top of Yost as he wanted to try and stay in there and as you said, look downfield, but they're just simply, the protection is inadequate to get anything but these little swing passes at this point in the game.
Yeah, this will be the 6th punt of the afternoon for Reyes. Remember, he is not their normal punter. David Harrington was hurt last week against BYU, and he was the FCS leader in punting. Nearly a little over 48 yards per game. Reyes gets away, pretty good kick. Fielded by Johnson at the 30. Running room to the 45. So again, great field position for Montana State. And you know, you talk about Montana State's defense, Mike, and boy, they have really bottled up Idaho State, and this was the play really that I think turned it around. I mean, they had a chance on that 4th to complete that pass, but Yost has had his problems today. A little overthrow there for Rumble.
Yeah,
and
there
tip
you
ball
see
there.
the tip ball. You know, he hasn't got a lot of help from his receivers today, and he has taken. This is the most I've ever seen a quarterback get hit, Chris. I mean, he has been hit all day long.
So wholesale changes now in the Montana State offense. Grayson Galloway, the backup quarterback, is in, and C.J. Palmer gets his first carry of the afternoon as he carries the ball down to the 48-yard line, a gain of 4 on the play, 2nd and 6. As C.J., you know, ranks in the top 10 Montana State all-time rushing and just hasn't been able to see the field this year.
He is, you know, he did play. I credit him last week. You saw him make a lot of really nice blocks in the Northern Colorado game as they went with a little bit that 2-back set that they showed some of last week. But hey, he has had a solid career. When you get behind a couple of pretty good players like he has this year, you don't get to pick as many spots, but he's finding a way to help this football team.
Galloway throws it out there for Tanner Bleskin. Incomplete pass will bring up 3rd down. Galloway, the 6'4", 207-pound junior out of Mill Valley, California.
And Galloway came in today only having thrown the ball 3 times, but he took almost all the reps in the one spot for this group in spring practices. They really wanted to try and elevate his play. And then coming out of spring ball, all the coaches were really happy with the progress that he had made.
They stay on the ground to Palmer, and CJ, well, let's see where the forward progress is. It's going to be short of the first down. He got to the 47, 2 yards short, and that'll bring up 4th down.
Well, it looks like, I'm not sure which, I haven't seen Roy Perez come now. It looks like they are going to bring the punting unit on this one, but for really, I think this is the first time that we've seen Perez since those initial couple of series where ISU was able to get the stops. Really since then, the floodgates have been open, and Montana State has just been running over ISU.
So Perez stands just inside his 40, booms one, and it'll take a bounce at the 5 and just gets into the end zone for the touchback. Well, it was close. 5:30 to go, 3rd quarter. All Montana State over the Bengals. Back in Bozeman, where Idaho State has the football, trailing big in this game to Montana State. The Bobcats with an impressive performance. Here's Yost, now pumps and looks long and deep, and this one is knocked down. Good coverage. Oh, a late flag comes in. That was intended for Austin.
Yeah, that time they tried to go with the double move. They pumped underneath and tried to get the ball upfield. Looked like really solid coverage by Flowers, but the flag came in really late in the call. Looks like probably go against Montana State.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Pass interference, defense. The penalty's declined. Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 49 defense, 15 yards, automatic, 1st down.
So the personal foul on Schreibeis.
Well, I missed it in live action. I was looking downfield, but let's see if we can get a look at the hit that gave the cause of the foul. Here, as you can see, the pass and really the interference call looked like sort of a tough call on Flowers because he actually got himself turned and made a play on the ball, but it is going to be the personal foul that moves the chains for Idaho State.
Yost tries to get it out there to his tailback. Jared Daniels incomplete. Be 2nd down from the 35. And at the half, another big game in the FCS today. Appalachian State is leading number 1 Georgia Southern 17-3. So we could have a real shakeup in the top 25 next week. Numbers on Yost now, 13 of 30 with an interception and 1 touchdown. Yost looking. And now it's going to be wrapped up, and that was just a great individual play by Schreibeis, who wraps him up for a loss on the play.
Boy, the coverage was there downfield. A little bit of time, as you see, Yost expands his time by breaking out of the pocket to the right here. He's got a guard, pulls out in front of him, but nowhere to go with the football, and it just takes too long. And Dees and Schreibeis are there to collapse along with 51, the linebacker, Michael Foster.
3rd and 11 from the 34. Here's Yost, steps up into the pocket, and this one almost picked off. Intended for Daniels. That'll bring up 4th down.
I'll tell you, Chris, this second half so far, they have had 4 possessions offensively, and Montana State has held them to minus 10 yards so far in the 3rd quarter, and they are handing a beating to quarterback Kevin Yost. I mean, that guy is getting hit and hit hard each and every play.
Now, and even when he gets a pass off, he's usually taking a shot. Here's Reyes, gets this one away, hits at the 35 and out of bounds, where Montana State will take over. So it's an interesting week, Mike, in the FCS. Other scores from the Big Sky. First down for the Bengals. And they'll stay on the ground. They have a new running back. And that's McSurdy on the carry, trying to give him a little breathing room. Well, Mike, we talked about those two big games in the FCS today. Number 1, Georgia Southern. Number 5, Appalachian State. Appy State's winning that game. Number 2, Northern Iowa at North Dakota State. Montana State should move at least one spot when the poll comes out, and maybe two.
And this, with the performance they've put on today, you know, they should move at least one. And you would like to see them more than just make a move. I would like to see week by week picking up more of those first place votes. So really, the poll doesn't really matter until they come out with those seedings, but it sure helps.
It's the end of the third quarter.
That's the end of 3. We'll be back with the fourth quarter after these words from your local stations. Latest score, Ford scoring drive, 8 plays, 40 yards. Cunningham's 26-yard field goal extending the lead of Montana State here in the fourth quarter.
Well, it's just been, you run out of ways to describe it almost, Chris, because it has just been all Montana State this afternoon. And when things are going bad for you, and then you start throwing a few interceptions and turning the ball over, it is going to be a long, long afternoon.
Cunningham's kick comes down at the 20-yard line to McSurdy. And McSurdy falls ahead to the 35-yard line. Number 3, North Dakota State leading Northern Iowa and Fargo at the end of one, 7-3. That's another big game. Idaho State's offense today has been that guy right there, the quarterback. 14 rushing yards. That's 6 below their average.
Just a tough day for Idaho State offensively, but credit Montana State's defense. This isn't the only time. Northern Colorado is the only team this season that has approached their offensive output average when they have faced this Montana State defense. So Idaho State is just the next on the list, Chris.
Well, you're right. They're not number one for, well, for a lot of reasons. You mentioned them in a whole bunch of categories, and now a chance for some of the reserve players to get some game action in here in the fourth quarter.
Foster and Flowers coming up on the stop there as they run that little swing pass to Jared Daniels out of the backfield. Hey, you know, that's supposedly, you know, normally a pretty high percentage shot, but one of the few times that they've actually completed it today. You see, you get it out here and it just allows him to turn it up. And listen to this. Ooh. Foster coming from the middle. You know, you get sometimes, Chris, you get these guys that are the backups. They got a lot. I mean, this is their Super Bowl. They're finally getting their chance to get on the field. They don't care if it's 54-6 or not.
Josh Hill with the reception at the 48-yard line. Foster's in. Yeah, a lot of new numbers there on that Bobcat defense. Any comment, Mike?
No, sir. I'm probably in trouble for the first one.
And here's Foster. He'll just slide down it right at midfield. We'll bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, this one didn't look good from the start. You can see they're just nobody, not really sure where he wanted to go. The tight end does a good job. He looked like he was boxing out on a rebound that time, keeping Foster away from Yost as he moved upfield, but Owens there, or the other backer, excuse me, there to help him out.
So a 3rd and 4 from the 49. And that's an incomplete pass. Late flag comes in the backfield.
Referee's
pass interference, maybe?
Yeah, I think it was early on in this one. But
pass interference, defense number 51.
Yep.
Ball will be placed at the spot of the foul, automatic, 1st down.
It's on Foster. Well, you'll see Foster gets in, Mike, just a little early on this play. A pretty easy call there.
Yeah, yep. you missed some of it, but they had contact. Like I say, these guys, 51 Foster, it's his Super Bowl. It's his chance to play. We got there just a little bit early that time. A good call on the part of the officials. And one of the rare times Idaho State has moved the chains.
Got a new quarterback for Idaho State. That's Justin Arias. How would you compare, Mike, how do you compare this Montana State team with last year's team?
Well, I think the difference is clearly on the defensive side of the football. Remember, Montana State put up unbelievable numbers on offense last year, but the defense sort of was clearly the weaker of the two, finishing only 5th in the conference. But this year, having both sides of the ball perform at such a high level, I think that's the difference. And I think that gives them just such a better chance moving forward than it did when you had to try and go and outscore everybody. You know, we had that period in the middle of the year last year where they were giving up yards and points. You know, it started at Sacramento State, where they didn't do a very good job on defense, and they have clearly turned that around.
And I thought in the playoff game last year against North Dakota State, I thought in the second half they got pushed around a little bit, and I'm not so sure that would happen this year. I think they're better defensively, but I think they're a little more physical too.
Absolutely.
There's the numbers on Arias in limited playing time. And this one's going to be intercepted at the 23-yard line. Now that's a highlight for the season for some of these guys. That's Robert Marshall.
Robert Marshall, another freshman, 6 foot, 200-pounder out of Carlton, Texas, getting himself some stats today as well.
6:59 to go in this one. We'll be back with the final minutes of the fourth quarter after these words from your local stations.
I was 17 in World War II when I enlisted in the Army.
Within a month after September 11th, I served in Afghanistan.
Oh, I felt it was my duty at the time.
Going got tough.
Grayson Galloway's played pretty much the entire second half for Montana State. The give is to Johnson. Down inside 7 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter, and the Bobcats will improve to 6-0 in the Big Sky, Mike, and look forward now to their final 2 games of the regular season. Let's take a look at some other scores. Montana will win over Weber State 38-3 in the second. Eastern Washington looks like they'll be in control if they can hold off Portland State, and North Dakota leads Northern Colorado by a touchdown.
Well, if that holds true, Keith, we are going to come down to a whale of a finish.
Yep.
It's the Montana schools, Montana and Montana State, that will have the only shots left at the automatic bid as the conference champion in this one. And it is really going to be interesting. You know, the Grizzlies, they only have 1 conference game left.
Right.
And that is when they come here to Bozeman. So really their season now, they do have the out-of-conference game next week, but they are already in a lot of fashions focusing on 1 game going forward. Montana State, on the other hand, they got to go to Weber State next week, which is a team not showing very well today, but that has been a tough place to play for the Montana State Bobcats.
They stay on the ground to Johnson. Well, you're right. So 2 games left for Montana State, 1 for Montana after today. They're ranked 11th in the country. They're going to get in, win or lose against the Bobcats. Montana State, though, can really go a long way to grabbing that national ranking, that higher seed, if they can win at Weber and then again on the final week of the regular season. So Weber State pretty much out of the picture now. Eastern Washington's the wild card. If they win out, Mike, I think they get in. I think 3 teams from the Big Sky get in.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. There are going to be 3. I think we certainly know who 2 of them are going to be. And Eastern Washington, I'll tell you what, you start off 0-4, and if you can come back and finish 7-4, you got to get in. I mean, when you're the reigning conference champion, or excuse me, national champion, they got to give you a shot because they are hot as they finish the season.
5:21 to go in this one. Montana State big over the Bengals. Back for the final few minutes of this game. Ball tipped right at the line of scrimmage. Incomplete pass. Well, Mike, turned out to be a beautiful day here in the Gallatin Valley. Sun came out, a crisp fall afternoon. I know why the crowd's so festive, though, is because many of them stayed way too late at halftime at their tailgate, and so they came back really happy in the third quarter.
Well, they have had plenty to be happy about this afternoon, as Montana State has been completely dominant on both sides of the ball.
Yeah. Well, we knew when we started this Big Sky Conference chase, every game's important, and the landscape of the conference changes from week to week, but now you're really starting to see it sort itself out with just a couple of weeks remaining. And after today, there's going to be a lot of clarity here.
Yeah, there really is. I mean, if you're any place but Montana, you're out of the picture. You're fighting for a possible 3rd entry into the postseason tournament. But as it so often does, as we see, it looks like the ball came out, but they are going to call him down on that one. Is it that great tradition of that Montana State football game? the Cat Grizz that gets so much hoopla. It's going to come down to that final Saturday between these two Montana teams to see who is the Big Sky Conference champion.
Can you even put into words what a game like that is as a player? I mean, I know what it's like for me to cover it, but what about when you played in it? I mean, can you even describe the emotion that goes into that game?
You know, when I played in it, the emotion is unbelievable. As we see, it looks like Rundles is not quite able to bring that one in, but when we played it, Chris, it wasn't that last game of the season. We often played in the middle of the year. Well, they are going to call the completion. They're going to give Idaho State the ball at the 6-yard line. Or just looks like, yeah, they're going to mark it between the 6 and 7-yard line. Let's take a look at this because it didn't look like he came down with the ball.
Well, Kaz Seawing was back in coverage. Well, yeah, I think, yeah, he did. He came down, he caught it, hit the ground, ball popped up, but once he hits the ground, he's down, right? You're down right there. Then the ball comes
All
out.
right, you say so, Chris. I'm not going to argue with you.
Right, no, can't fumble by contact.
No, I didn't see it. I couldn't tell from either angle whether he actually controlled the ball when he was coming down. And again, I have that defensive bias, and if it's close, tie goes the defense. Close to a tie goes the defense.
So Idaho State trying to push one across here late in the fourth quarter. It's 2nd and 3. Little fade into the corner. Are you kidding me? Did he catch that? Went up with one hand.
He went up and got it. The only reason he had to go up with one hand, Chris, is because he was busy with that left hand, pushing off the defensive back on this. This looked like an NFL-type play. Watch him create space with his left arm there. You can see him push the DB off. He goes up with the one hand, just not able to stay in bounds.
Wow.
Take another look at it.
That's a touchdown.
You can see the foot come down. The only question would be if he could.
That's a touchdown.
Control the ball, but yeah, I would agree. That should have been 6 for Idaho State.
That was an amazing catch. And to go right back to him for 6 points. So they didn't give him the touchdown the first time around, but Rumble comes right back to get the touchdown the second time around, and the Bengals back on the board.
Well, we're looking at a big-time receiver here for Idaho State today. You know, they've been overshadowed, and rightfully so, by the performance of Montana State. But this is a kid who is putting up huge numbers, not only on the Big Sky level, but nationally.
85 catches coming in, which is just unbelievable. And he's had a bunch here in the second half.
Yeah, I think that he's very close to his average. He's definitely up over his 10 receptions a game, and they haven't given up, Chris.
So a late touchdown makes it 54-13 here in the fourth quarter. Forward scoring drive, 3 plays, 59 yards. Rumble hauls in the 3-yard touchdown pass from the reserve quarterback, Justin Arias, to make it a 54-13 game with 3:20 to go here in the fourth quarter. Updated score, North Dakota State leading Northern Iowa 10-3 over in Fargo. Northern Iowa, though, with a 1st and goal at the 8, so that could be tied up here. And again, as we mentioned, that's a game between the number 2 and number 3 ranked team in the country. And yeah, Mike, here's the way I see it. Montana State to play for the Big Sky title, right? Montana State both in. Eastern Washington gets in if they sweep. So it's just then it's a matter of who wins the conference and how they're going to go in.
Yeah, I think that's exactly how it's going to play out right now. Even if Montana State were to go to Weber State and come up short, they would still both have one loss, as we see Ellis take off on this one. Boy, he just ran over the back of his own blocker's feet that time. Otherwise, he was going to take that one to the house, Chris.
Boy, Ellis showing his speed. Takes it over midfield, and he drops the football on the kick. And
as so many great returns do, they start with the bobble. The timing changes, but look at this. He just runs, right, catches the foot of his own blocker that time, or it was just a kicker to beat. Well,
yeah, look at Cody.
You know, I can't tell if he's got shoulder pads on or not, Chris. Look at the size of Cody, man. He just grows the more you look at him. But what a day he had today. 24 carries, 184 yards rushing. He also had a reception to his credit for another 9 yards. Look at the season numbers as we look at. Keep in mind, this is a sophomore with 2 weeks to play that is already up over that 1,100-yard mark. And hey, he deserves that big smile he's sporting this afternoon.
I got to be honest with you. I would have never thought that Cody Kirk would be an 1,100-yard rusher with still 2 games remaining in the regular season. You know, when Lorenzo Davis, when they announced he was not going to be coming back because he was declared ineligible, I thought, oh boy, you know, well, Trey Robinson's going to come in, right? The transfer from Nebraska, and that's going to kind of solve that problem. But hold on a minute. Cody Kirk decided to put the time in, the work in the offseason. He got the start at the beginning of the season and never looked back.
Yeah, I think that there were a lot of Bobcat fans that probably thought that would be the situation, or that there would be a drop-off. Definitely does it different than Davis did, but he certainly has. There's nobody that's doing it any better in the Big Sky Conference, Chris. He is way out front now in that rushing lead.
And Johnson will be taken down. Well, and Trey Robinson, the transfer that came in, it took him a little while to get comfortable with the system, but once he did, he's really been a terrific compliment to Cody Kirk. And we talked about this in the first half. You don't lose a whole lot when you bring Robinson in and you take Cody out. We just get an update from Fargo now where Northern Iowa has tied North Dakota State, so they're 10-10 in the second quarter. As you look at Coach Kramer, and I think Coach Kramer's doing a little teaching right now. He's using his timeouts and talking to his players. And here's the Stockman Bank game-changing play that sent Montana State on their way, and it was this guy, Mike, that got it going.
Well, this, as we said, they struggled on a couple of drives, and this was the one where Cody took charge. They went into that Bobcat formation, and he's got that group moving, and they have never slowed down since.
No, they sure haven't, and you're right. This game started kind of slow, you know, 3 and outs by both teams, and McGee threw the interception, but boy, once they got it going, that scoring came early and often.
It really has, and you know, you look at the numbers here, and you got to remember that was through just a little bit, you know, 2.5 quarters of football for Trey Robinson and Cody Kirk, and then it's really been they've brought some of the other guys in, but I mean that was a period of time. Started slow, first 3 drives really produced nothing, and then it was just, I mean, they were ripping off yards at a very, very rapid pace. They're right into really halfway through the third quarter before they pulled everybody. It was a race to whoever had the ball between the 2 of them was going to race to the end zone.
And I'm not sure that the school could have hired a better coach, the right coach at the right time for this program, and that's the man you're looking at right there, Rob Ash.
I couldn't agree more. He came in, and that piece that AJ did at halftime where he talked about consistency, writing for the brand, that means more than just your play on the football field. That's how you conduct yourself in the classroom. That's how you conduct yourself in the community. And he has established that sense of pride in that no one wants to tarnish that image. And when he said that, I thought, boy, he put it very succinctly, is that these are guys that they are playing for more than themselves, more than their team. They really do feel an obligation to the brand, as he called it, which is Montana State football.
This one will get into the end zone, and Idaho State with the final 2.5 minutes to wrap things up. When you think about Montana State's program in stages and where it's come, I mean, go back to the '84 when you played on the national championship team. Really went into an extreme down cycle after that, and you had the years, the unproductive years with Earl Solomonson. That didn't work.
It was almost like I've referred to it as the death penalty phase. There were 5 years where Montana State lost all momentum. They lost their relationships within the state. They lost the confidence of the community, and then it was back. Coach Heisel started it back. He came in, and got things moving and started building. And then he passed the torch to Coach Kramer, who comes in on his first season, goes 0-11, and then the next 6 he wins 3 conference championships. So
and had 3 teams in the FCS playoffs,
yeah,
which hadn't happened since '84.
And went and got a playoff win, which hadn't happened since '84. So, and now this is the next step with Coach Ash. And I think that they've continued to move to a new level, and it really takes all that building. And you can see it's not an overnight thing, and it shows you the work that they have ahead of them at Idaho State. For Coach Kramer and his staff to get this football team to the place where he wants them to be, and that's where they are, a competitive, hard-nosed football and a Big Sky contender each and every season.
Boy, that's just great form tackling by Cody Cleveland. Wrapped him up, dropped him. Good open field tackle, under 2 minutes to go. No, this program has come a long, long way. And this one's going to be intercepted. Kaz Seawing is bringing it back the other way. Out of bounds at the 45. So Cruz Seawing, there's the other half of that brother combination.
They're both getting some things done this year for the Bobcats. And hey, he's a little fired up about that. And you got to be, as a defense, you're going to go, okay, wait, we called off the dogs a long time ago, and now you're still trying to throw it over the top on us every time? All right, we're going to turn this thing around. We're going to get a pick and take it right back at you.
You talked about Coach Ash and his getting his team to the FCS playoffs last year in a home game against North Dakota State, and boy, instant success. And you see that you start to reap the rewards with bigger attendance. I can remember crowds in here in the late '80s, Mike, where you couldn't get 6,000 people here.
No.
And to have 18,000 in here for a home opener and a brand new stadium renovation, it's just been amazing. And it's taken a lot of people to do that.
It has. It's taken a lot of people and a lot of time, and you look down at the field and the things that have happened since Coach Kramer left with the new field, the new addition to the stadium. I mean, a lot of changes, and this program is really on track to continue to grow and be a big part of this Big Sky tradition.
All right, so Montana State now will go into the victory formation to run the clock out. On their way to 8-1 on the season, 8 consecutive wins after their season opening loss to Utah. I'm not so sure if they played Utah again that might have a little different bit of an outcome.
Well, that was a game. Remember, Montana State got off to a pretty poor start, and it was largely of their own making. So, yeah, you want to wind back. I wish we could wind back the clock. I'd like to do this again because it's been a ton of fun.
Well, it certainly has, and there's still more football to be played. And now the handshake between Coach Kramer. You see some of the players coming over.
Well, that's Denny.
Yep.
He is a kid that Coach Kramer helped recruit before he left here. So, hey, Coach Kramer, the next time he's on this field, he's going to bring a competitive football team with him, and you can count on that.
Leo Davis.
There's another one of those fifth-year seniors that was involved in Coach Kramer's last recruiting class. There's a bunch of them on that O-line that has been so good, but a lot of big smiles and obviously an emotional time for Coach. But I tell you, this will be the last time we'll see a score like it with that crew.
Well, and this is nice to see. These are the players hugging Coach Kramer that he recruited right before he left, and you can see the affection they have for him, and deservedly so. And I'm sure Coach Ash wouldn't want it any other way.
No.
And like you said, this is it. Now he moves on. It'll be his time to build the program at Idaho State.
Yeah, he's in a new spot.
Yeah.
You don't look back. Coach Ash has come in and put his stamp on this football team like we just talked about. Coach Kramer did it in his time here. They have both made Montana State football better.
Yeah, and so he takes a swan song, and I wish Coach Kramer the best of luck with Idaho State in the future. So we'll be back. It was an impressive win, due in large parts to that guy right there, Cody Kirk, 54-13, our final score. We'll be back to wrap things up after this.
What Rob Ash has to say.
That was tremendous. I give a lot of credit to Coach McIndoe and Coach Wright, and again, Coach Link. All those guys really work hard on the run game every week, and they had a good plan. It took us a while to kind of figure out exactly, how we wanted our blocking combinations to work against all their movement on defense. And then when we got it figured out and got it organized, then our players were able to go out on the field and execute it. And Trey and Cody just took advantage, but I thought they did a nice job, seeing the ball, the holes, going to the right spot, and making the most of that situation. It was just a nice job by that staff. Yeah, they did a terrific job. They're hard workers. They're guys that really care about getting every play right. They're not necessarily the biggest, strongest, overpowering guys that way, but they play with good technique, and they really do care about getting the assignment right. And to me, that's still the most important thing. I've said it many, many times. When you try to run the football, you have to get a hat on a hat. And our guys do an awesome job of getting everybody blocked up front. The players execute that. Then that's when you have a chance to have a good running play. And this defense has just by design, it moves side to side a lot, with twists and slants and these lateral kinds of things. And we just felt like going right at it was the best plan, and it also fit our personnel the best. And those guys hit the holes hard. They run through arm tackles. We talked about that all week, about there's going to be an arm or a half a man or something in the hole. We got to run through that arm tackle and then bust out in and make a big play. Coming home helped us, I think, but we also did some good things this week. We lightened up on practice a lot, went shorter, changed up a few things, and just told our team we wanted them to be fresh and play fast in this game. And I think they came out with a little extra pep in their step, whatever you want to say, and I think that helped us too. But we were ready. I think last week's game, it did have an impact on everybody on our football team. We can't let games be that close, and we wanted to take care of business better and play smarter, and we did.
Interesting that he admits that the team let down a little bit last week.
Well, that's true, particularly following it with such a great effort today. You look back, and you say, well, what happened? How come we're so much better? Well, because of the things he said.
And he was talking about the offensive line. We talk about guys that just got it out, are just workhorses every play.
That's right. Get it done every play, every day.
All right. Hey, when we come back, we'll be joined by the other members of our MTN crew.
Green here to break down the offensive performance today. And what can you say? Everything that could go right did, and Montana State earned it this afternoon. They did exactly what they wanted to. They ran the ball right down the throat of Idaho State. It started, I thought, in the first quarter with a Wildcat package that MSU brought in with Cody Kirk. They went to it again, and eventually scored a touchdown off of it. And then from there, some breakaway touchdowns, and then it turned into grind it out, run the clock out, let's not get anybody hurt. The offensive line, players of the game, all of them, give it to them. They absolutely dominated Idaho State. I thought it's not always fun, quote unquote, working in the trenches, but this afternoon it proved to be. Here's lineman Alex Terrian.
Oh yeah, it's great. On a power I block down, then you just hear the crowd go crazy, and you see Cody and Trey just 30 yards past everybody. It's a great feeling, and it definitely helps to make you a little less sore the next day to know that they ran the ball that well.
Just get to the end zone. Hopefully I get there and don't get caught. That's always been my negative is that breakaway speed and getting caught. And so, I'm pretty sure a guy almost tackled me, but I'll take it.
We knew that this is a really good defense, but if you catch them out of gaps, that's their one weakness. And a couple of times, we ran power. We've been a power team all year. That's what we're trying to get to, and power's built to catch guys out of gaps. And when we did, Trey and Cody did a great job of taking advantage of that for us.
Well, I tell you, we have a great offensive line, and they go out there and they bust their butt and they open up the holes. And Coach Mack does a great job, and Coach Wright does a great job making the calls. And we have a really good coaching staff, and our O-line does a great job. And, even they got the tight ends, and on that big touchdown, Tanner Bleskin made a heck of a block down there to spring that too. And so really, it's a team effort. Everybody's down there blocking and open up holes.
I felt the momentum. Hell, I felt it after Utah. I know we came out there with a loss, but I knew that this team was going to bounce back. I never worried about this team bouncing back. And I think ever since we lost last year to North Dakota State, I felt like we've had momentum. We've known what we have to do to get back to the playoffs.
It's power, I guess. You just go out there and you know where it's going to hit. You know how you're supposed to run it. And when you see a seam, you just gotta turn it on and just hit it. And I mean, yeah, it's hitting where you wanted it to hit, and that's always a nice thing when you see that seam. I tell you what, it's like, oh yeah.
Next week we have to go down and play Weber, and they've always kind of given us trouble, especially running the ball. And they're always a big front, and it's going to be tough next week to get 200 or 100 yards against them.
Yeah, that's next week. But as for today, textbook offense, not just for Montana State, but anywhere in the nation. Show me a team that did better today. Over 300 yards rushing for Montana State in the first half. Over 500 yards rushing for the game. Ted, Sonny, beat that.
And I'll tell you what, Mike Kramer is not going to appreciate that. He was very testy in the postgame interviews. We'll hear from that a little bit later. But again, offensive line that does that?
Well, there's no question. The offensive line is where it all starts. If we can't get it done up front, it's not going to happen. And
there's really no way around it. Let's go back to last week in Greeley, Colorado, where it was pretty much a letdown. Offense couldn't get the spark to put points up on the scoreboard. Defense let the Bears hang around in that ball game. Special teams actually performed better than we've been used to seeing. But again, you look at that defense, Northern Colorado just kept getting a couple big plays, churning out some first downs and sticking around in that ball game. So you turn around, you come back home to Bobcat Stadium, you face one of the other worst teams in the Big Sky Conference, and you pretty much shut them down. One big play for a touchdown, then the second teams and third teams, they give up another one right there. But you got to be pretty pleased with that side of the football, especially winning that turnover battle, as we've talked about all season long. However, there's no way around it, and I know we'll get to this later on in the show, but the return of Mike Kramer to Bobcat Stadium, where some of these guys were actually recruited by the big guy here in Bozeman, but when you look right at it, weren't worried about that, not a single bit.
No, not. I mean, he recruited us, like me and Alex and a few of the guys, but we never got to play for him. I mean, we liked him, what we knew, but I mean, it didn't really matter by the time it started playing. They're always fired up when we play here, and didn't really notice that too much. I mean, the only time we ever really thought about that was when the media, you guys asked us questions about it. I mean, it didn't really bother us at all. Yeah, we came out with a lot more energy this week. Last week it was tough. I mean, you guys that were there, there's no energy there in Greeley, and it helps to have our fans there, so kind of gets us pumped up, and then we just wanted to get all over them and get over it with it fast.
I'd say just the ability of most of our D-line guys. It's like, I'd say it's hard to credit one guy with what we do because it just takes all four of us, and we do a good job with working with each other and opening up holes for each other and slanting in and stuff. So it's been good. On all levels,
we tried to in the back end take away his quick reads and make him sit there and pump the ball. And that's exactly what he did. And if you give our D-line time to get there, they'll get there every time.
It's really easy. It kind of takes away half the battle with that first read, but yeah, it makes it a lot easier. Well, definitely would rather just go back there and get it. Yeah, it makes it kind of frustrating, but I don't know. It's fun. I think they're kind of in desperation mode, but I don't know. It was great to have some of our twos to get in there and make some big plays. So I think it was just a great win for the whole team.
Yeah, I mean, 8 wins is supposed to be the magic number, but we're worried about Weber State next week, and then obviously the showdown at the end of the year.
So again, you give up only 2 scores on the defensive side of the football. A pretty impressive performance right there. One thing that still worries me, and I said this on the sideline leading into this football game, the Cats defense has tendencies to give up at least one big passing play that'll end up leading to a touchdown, and we saw Kevin Yost and the Bengals offense do just that. However, we knew they were going to chuck it coming into this football game, and that defensive line, their eyes continue to light up every time they get in that situation. Ted, Sonny? Forgot award-winning Bobcats beat writer for the Bozeman Chronicle right here. Absolutely, Colter Nuanez. Thanks for joining us as always. First things first, we got to get it out of the way. You were in that press game post-conference. They bring in Idaho State head coach Mike Kramer. A lot of one-word answers. I know we're going to hear from him in just a minute, but at first when the reporters, everybody was asking him questions, he wasn't giving us much.
It was disappointing because honestly Mike Kramer is one of my favorite quotes in the entire Big Sky Conference, so I was expecting a little more. I needed something for my stories, but you could tell he was really upset with how bad they got beat, especially the way they got beat. It was a pretty messy ending here for him, and I think he really wanted to get some revenge today, and it wasn't even close. His team didn't perform well in any aspect of the game, so he was visibly disappointed.
The way they got beat, it was that rushing attack out there. Cody Kirk, Trey Johnson, Trey Robinson rather, just going crazy on the ground. I mean, over 315, 320 rushing yards in the first half alone.
Yeah, and to me, it was the execution of the offensive line. They ran that power, and Idaho State shifts around on defense so much, just back and forth. The linebackers are all over the place. And Montana State, at first, they didn't get going for about 10 minutes in the game, but then they started running that power, and it was just dynamite. On that power, the play side guys block down, the backside guy pulls around, and when you got guys like Cody Kirk and Trey Robinson, who aren't necessarily the fastest guys in the world, but they can see that crease, and that's just money in the bank. And as we saw, 166 yards for Cody in the first half, 154 for Trey in the first half, 5 total touchdowns between them in the first half. I mean, best rushing game of the year so far for the Cats, no question about it.
You and I were both down in Greeley last week, and let's just be honest, kind of disappointed with the way they came out in that football game, and then let the Bears kind of stick around as they move forward in this Big Sky Conference schedule.
Well, first of all, as both Caleb and Clay and Alex all said in the postgame press conference, it's a heck of a lot easier to play in front of 19,000 fans than it is to play in front of 3,000 fans. But, I think that they got it back on track. Not that they weren't anyways, but 8 straight wins going into November. Looking pretty good right now.
Really quick, we're being wrapped up. Does 8 wins get them in the playoffs?
Absolutely. It doesn't get them a bye yet, but they're in.
You heard of award-winning Coulter Nuanez right there. Ted, Sonny.
Do appreciate it. When we come back, we will hear.
Drop passes for you guys early could have changed the game. Has that been a problem for you all season, or was it just something about today?
No, I'm not sure.
What about the challenges rebuilding that program? I mean, you rebuilt here, now you're rebuilding. Can you discuss the challenge?
Well, I think you should really take a look at the tenor of the whole thing. They had won 7 games in '98. We've only had 13 winning seasons in 47 years, fellas and ladies and gentlemen, and we only won 4 games in the last 3 years. So we're a long ways away. We're also battling a monstrous APR hill.